Hello and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight we've got a good group of guests for you. We've got a few topics to discuss, what's not happening for us in the transfer window. We do have some Spurs news for you. We're going to do players' ratings where we hope to involve the chat to give them marks. What we'll do with the players' ratings each week for each game is we'll let them roll over, and at the end of the season we'll take the average for all the players and see where they stand. And I know it'll be a little bit skewed because fans have their favourite players and have their favourite pet hates as well. But we hope that it'll average out, because what normally happens in a season, if a player plays well in the last 5 or 6 games, he's everyone's favourite and it looks like he's had a better season than someone else. Anyway, that's that. So without further ado, then we'll move in. We will discuss the Everton game as well. I know Ian discussed it Sunday, but I'm sure these guys will have a different take on it. So without further ado, I'll introduce AJ. How are you, AJ?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
And Phil, another guest, regular guest. Phil, how are you?
Yeah, great, Adrian. Great to be back on the show again. Let's get into it.
Mark, the sheriff, who makes sure the chat runs smoothly. How are you?
All is good, Adrian. All is very good. Yeah, busy day.
That's okay, Sheriff. Send him the link. If Haz wants to come on, he's welcome.
Yeah. I already have.
All right, I'm fine. And so if you see him below, let me know as soon as you sight him. I'll bring him in.
No. I can't see none of that, Adrian.
All right, okay. All right, okay, fair enough. So let me go to the banners and put the team up. Okay, that was the team, right? So, AJ, what did you make of the team? I'm sure you were as surprised as I am about what you're going to say, but go on. What did you make of that team?
I was surprised to see Basuma back in, to be fair. I'll stand by what I said before. I don't think that one game is a suitable punishment, but you can only... If you're given a chance to make up for your stupid behaviour, you have to take your chance, and he did that. Very good display, great goal, contributed to the team. I thought it was a very attacking lineup. I thought he went very attacking, which surprised me. But I liked it. It was a positive setup. He wanted to win the match. He wanted to win the match convincingly, and we did exactly that. So, yeah, I mean, in regards to the setup, that's all I have to say about it, really.
Right. What we do on our podcast is we start with a discussion on the team, then we do the first half, second half, player ratings, blah, blah, blah. So we don't want to get too far ahead of yourselves in your replies, yeah? So good evening, Haz. Good to see you.
Hey, you're right.
See the team in front of you. What did you think of that team? Any surprises for you?
The one surprise for me, or two actually, was the fact he started Kulusevski with Maddison. I didn't really expect him to do that, and that's something I'll praise him for, because it shows that maybe he has learnt something, that, you know, against low blocks, we should be playing Maddison with Kulusevski, because we need more than one creative player in there, especially teams like Everton, where it's probably a good game to test it out as well, because the quality, let's be honest, is not very high with that Everton side. So it's good to try out those three together. But the biggest surprise to me was him starting Odobert. I didn't really expect him to do that because he just joined the club. But it was kind of like a welcome surprise, because he did all right, I thought. Obviously, I didn't really see any end product, but I thought at least he showed a willingness to try and take on players. So that was better than some of the other wingers we've got. So and then again, that's not a very high threshold to really measure things. But he's only 19, so we'll just see what happens with him, I guess.
Phil, your take on the starting lineup?
Basuma, actually on the last show, I said that Basuma would probably start this game, regardless of what he'd done in the past. I think we sort of needed him in midfield because of Bentancur obviously being injured. So I think he was the only senior sort of midfielder that we had who could come back in and try and prove a point. And I think it was quite a bold, quite a brave move from Postecoglou to put him back in, and it did pay off 100%. I don't know if you could put the banner up again, Adrian. Couldn't see the players again. Yeah, it would have been. I thought that was brave as well by Ange. I thought, you know, putting a 19-year-old kid in. I know he's played in the Prem before, but he's you know, he hasn't played much in the Prem, and to throw him in, you know, on his debut was a brave move, and that also paid off. I thought he did very well. Again, it's his debut. Let's not go too mad. You know, it's you know, he's going to have other games as well where he can improve. So let's just keep our feet on the ground. With Johnson, I don't know how he's getting into the starting lineup every week. He needs to be benched in my eyes, and I think the only thing he's good at really is coming off the bench and being an impact player. He can't really start games at the moment. His confidence is shot, and I think it's a hindrance on the team if he does start in the starting 11. So I'd like to see someone else in there, like a Cooley or someone like that on the right hand side.
Yeah, we'll come to that later on. Mod Mark.
Yeah, all the other players really we're you know we're an easy pick.
Mod Mark, your take on the lineup?
Yeah, well, it was to be expected. I mean, I think Biss got in because there's nobody else. To be honest, you know, it's a case of having to. Whether you consider his punishment to be sufficient, I don't think. You know, when we've had the discussion, I mean, you know, it's a case of having to. You know, so that's immaterial whether his punishment was severe or not, you know, or sufficient. But, you know, it was good to see Odebert. You know, he did okay. I'm sure we're going to come on to that.
Yeah, so the Bentancur injury was a lifeline for him, wasn't it, for Basuma? But he took his chance. He took his chance.
Yeah, he did take his chance. Yeah.
I wanted him to get at least 4-match ban. But
well, but like, you know, needs must at the end of the day.
Yeah, if it meant like we would have lost the game if he didn't play, which I doubt anyway. But yeah. So, AJ, your take on the first half? Game one, wasn't it? It was all wasn't much to scare us. We had a couple of scares, but game one, wasn't it?
Everton aren't a very good team, and they showed that. They're not a very good team, but you can only perform against what's in front of you. And we did that. We performed very well. I keep hearing that we're not great and they're rubbish, so we beat them easily because we're expected to. But by that logic, the Man Cities, the Arsenals, the Liverpools are going to be beating them 8-0, right? By that logic, they'll be 7-8-0. Because if a crap team like Tottenham can beat them 4-0 because they're rubbish, surely the better teams in the league are going to walk it. Yeah, they might not. They shouldn't even turn up. I think we played very well. The performance we put in, everybody, with the exception of Brennan Johnson, performed. Everybody. I want to see us with that same intensity, with that same style, with that same hunger. I want to see us do that against Newcastle. It's a great time to be playing Newcastle. They haven't been great. And we know when they're in full flow, they've got the players to hurt us, especially at home. This is a great time to be playing. We need to build on what we've done against Everton, take it into that game, put them to the sword, get that game out the way, and then look ahead to Arsenal.
Okay. Has your take on the first half?
Well, we just did the job really. Obviously, there was that Pickford mistake for the Son goal, which, I mean, I praised Son for like chasing him down because he was kind of doing it all game from the front. So he kind of earned the goal partly, but Pickford looked really shaky throughout the whole game. Apart from that little sequence with the corners they had, I think it was like, all hands on deck. I had my heart in my mouth for about 5-10 minutes. We just about survived that. And after that, I don't think Everton really did anything else. Apart from Dwight McNeil, I didn't really see any threat from them. Calvert-Lewin, I think, is a shadow of the player he was during that one season he had where he was like really good. And I think Bissouma, I'm one of the people like you, Adrian, who didn't want to see him play, but you kind of have to praise him for taking his goal. And one thing I'll say is I was very happy to see us taking, I don't know if it was a massive amount more shots than outside the box from before, because I don't see the statistics and the areas they do this, these things on. But it was nice to see us score for a goal from like that and from outside the box, because we tend to try and want to walk it in. And I think Bissouma did all right overall, but I'm sure you'll talk about the individual players later on. So,
Phil, your take on the first half?
I thought it was quite a clinical performance, to be honest. I thought it was very professional performance from Spurs. I thought, obviously, before the game, we were odds-on favourites massively. But I was just pleased with the clean sheet as well. And also putting our chances away early on and killing the game off, which we don't seem to do in games on recent times. So that was, all them factors were good to see. I see a lot of fans that are playing down the team we were playing. At the end of the day, Everton are a Premier League team. I don't think there's any easy game in the Prem. And I think we should give the team a lot of credit for getting the 3 points over the line and being convincing at the same time. So I think we need to praise this team when they are doing well, even if it's against a team that we should be beating. But you need to get the 3 points at the end of the day. And there's 11 players against 11. So, I'm just pleased we've got the 3 points and a clean sheet, and we move on to Newcastle.
Good evening, Colin. We just started talking, so we're just talking about the first half. The others have all had take on the first half. Oh, yeah, everyone's had a say on the first half.
I haven't.
Let's
get this in.
I'm about to say that. You're a mod, so we go guess.
Oh, all right.
Mod,
what's up, Mark? Yeah, what's up, Mark? What's up, Mark? Go.
Oh, you, Colin?
Right. Okay. So, Colin, what was your take on the first half? You did a watch.
So first half against Everton. Yeah. Sorry, hold on. I've got to adjust my volume. I can barely hear you, cats. I'm sure it's my fault here. Let's try it again. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, yeah. First half was exciting. It like I heard you guys talking a little bit ago. It was Everton, but you got to beat them. How many times, do we come out and do we draw teams that sit back? No, I thought the first half was great. I know that there's a lot of people that are, I don't know, upset's the wrong word, but there's a lot of people that are thinking that we're overhyping Odegaard, and yeah, probably a bit. But it's the first Tottenham type of player I've seen in a while. A player that gets you excited, a player that makes you stand up and go, what's going to happen next? And we've needed that. And so that was really nice to see. I thought that alone was nice. He didn't put up, crazy numbers or anything like that. But he got me excited, which was something I haven't, Tottenham, I'm not always excited by the football we play. So that was nice. I thought, we were defensively good. I thought Bissouma had a great match. Besides his goal, we've been clamoring for that number 6, and I think Bissouma could be that guy if he can continue that form, that he had against Everton. And it's only Everton. I hear it all the time. I have a feeling the same people, if we get a result against Newcastle, I think the same people will say, "Oh, when Newcastle were just bad." So I mean, we've got to take it. We've got to take the good. If you can't be happy with a win, what can you be happy about? So yeah, no, I thought the first half was great. There was a couple of times where I got really scared after the first goal. So there are negatives. It wasn't all peaches and cream. After our first goal, they had a succession of corners that absolutely scared the pants off of me. You guys probably remember that. So there's work to be done clearly.
The South Stand was shouting, "Get it fucking out of there!"
Yeah, I bet. And big old Tarkovsky in there. It seemed like he got his head onto everything. And so yeah, there's plenty to work on. But I did see stuff that made me happy, and that made me feel like I was watching the Tottenham of old, which is nice because I think we all support the team because, well, for one, I mean, a lot of people were born into it, but they play. We miss the exciting football. We miss the guns ablazing, go all out, do everything you can, give it hell, and we did, and I like that. And so yeah. Back to you.
Okay. Good evening, Soren. Welcome to the show. We've only just started. We're getting everyone's take on the first half. There's only me and Mark to go, but as you can go before him. Yeah. What was your take on the first half?
I'm just going to say what everybody else has said so far. Look, we can only beat what's put in front of us. But I thought we played well. I thought we looked good. You can only look as good as the other team can either make you or let you. So we played an Everton team that are low in confidence, that made mistakes, which probably helped us even more. But I thought there was quite a few positives. I thought there was some negatives with a couple of the players, but look, it was what it was. We kept a clean sheet both halves. I know we're only talking about the first half, but it was a professional performance. That's the way I look at it.
Mark, your take on the first half, and I'll give you mine.
Yeah, all I got to say is, can we play Everton every week? Because to be honest, no. What I'm saying is not negative, right? Like Everton have got to be the worst Everton team I've ever seen. They are struggling. And I'm sorry if there's any Everton fans watching, but I fear for their team this year in the Premier League. I really do. But having said that, Tottenham played well, but it's like everyone else has said, you can only play what is in front of you. And we dealt with them. I mean, let's face it, they were put to the sword. And that's all you can do.
Okay. My take on it was, I think we even overhyped the first half performance a bit. The reason I say that is because we started very brightly at a brisk sort of pace. We got the second goal, and you could sense, being us Spurs fans, they wanted a third goal before half time. But I think we relaxed a little bit after we got that second goal. We weren't as urgent going forward, and that was coming up to half time. And I thought through the rest of the game, I know we'll talk about the second half in a minute. I thought we played within ourselves and we got the goals, and the goals came because there was no real pressure on us. We had a few scares. Vicari only made one save. Back to you, Phil. Second half. What did you make of the second half?
It sort of petered out, really. It wasn't. I think the game was already done before it kicked off in the second half. To be honest with you, I think we killed it off. Second half was just, I don't know, just damage limitation. Really, it was just for Everton. It was just a pretty easy coasting performance in the second half. I don't think there was much to go off, to be honest with you. Couple of good performances, but yeah, I mean, there's not much to say on the second half, really. First half was done.
AJ, your take on the second half?
Pretty much what Phil just said. I mean, we had the game completely under control. We did. There was nothing really coming back from Everton. Nothing. My highlight of the match, the thing I loved the most, was Mickey van der Ven and his 80-yard run. And it wasn't even just the fact that he has got some jet-propelled lightning boots. The run was intelligent. He ran, he drove at the heart of their defence, and he drew 4 players to him. Once all the 4 players had come to him, he released the ball to Son. Son took a great touch, slotted it home. But that run was incredible. And I don't care who you're playing against. I don't care who you're playing against. That run to pick up that ball from the edge of your own area to run, gallop past 4 or 5 players to bring 4 defenders to you, and to have the wherewithal for a centre half to lay the ball off perfectly to Son. I'm sorry, but for me, that was the best.
I mean, running with the ball as well, AJ. Do you know what I mean? Like dribbling with the ball from his own area.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Always having his eye on the ball, AJ.
And that was after we were worried that he injured his knee.
Exactly that. And anyone that's hyperextended their knee, I've done it before. It hurts. It hurts. And he ran it off, and that run showed his strength, his pace, and his intelligence as a footballer. So for me, that was the highlight of the second half of the whole match.
True.
Soren, it's a good job. It's a good job he didn't have the afterburners on, wasn't it? Otherwise, he'd have overtaken Son.
Yeah, he didn't even break a sweat, did he? He just ran. He ran and ran and ran, left them all for dead. And then I think it actually, AJ, you're quite inaccurate. It was actually 80.12 meters that he ran.
Make sure you get it right, AJ.
Ellie had the measuring stick out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible, wasn't it? I was talking to my brother about it, right? And I said, like Eric Lamela and Lucas Moura, they did more or less the same at Wembley, right? Not so unique as Van de Ven's run, but they didn't have no end product, or they didn't have the intelligence to look up and find their man.
Exactly that.
I'm not saying all of the time, because sometimes they did, but most of the times they didn't. All right. And it was incredible, wasn't it? It was like a sunny run, and everybody was cheering for Van de Ven at the end of it because it was like he scored the goal.
Soren, your take on the goal and the Romero goal?
Typical Cootie, wasn't it? It was just exactly what you expect from him, and hope he's going to do lots more of. The Van de Ven goal, look, I've heard everything from, it was only Everton, we played a shit team, he wouldn't have done it against the top teams, it was goal of the season. You know, you hear everything, but I think AJ just summed it up there. It was a dominating run. It was to the point. It was clinical. The only thing that you would say is Sonny nearly fucked it up, didn't he? He was quite lucky with the finish, to be honest with you. But look, I mean, now we're on to the second half. I will say as well, I am so pleased for Bissouma. I think I wouldn't have played him. I think he needed more of a ban, but I am so glad. And he was so humble the way, you know, he bowed to the fans and then went to hug Ange Postecoglou. It kind of felt like, you know, I'm sorry, but there you are type thing. Thanks for sticking with me. But the whole match, now we're on to the second half. Look, we played Everton. Everton are a poor team, but we were clinical. We were professional. We kept a clean sheet. We won 4-0. And anybody else that wants to give it shit, then I'm not interested anymore. I'm fed up of all the negativity around this club. We've won 4-0. Why can't we just frigging celebrate for once without having to dissect all the negativity that you can find within a match? Yeah, Brennan Johnson was shit. Right, move on. Full stop.
Yeah.
You know, we've won 4-0. We're 2 games into the season, and we haven't lost a game yet. But we, you know, as a fan base, and I'm talking about us all, not just individuals. It's like we've got to look for the doom and gloom in it. And look, if you think I'm the problem, well, that's fine. I think you're the problem as well. So let's move on.
That's it.
Well, there was none. See, the thing is, I think there's 2 cults of supporters here. Those fortunate enough to go at the game like me, although I do both as well as social media, and those that don't, that watch or whatever, and that you didn't have one atom of negativity at the stadium, Soren. It's just different.
Though I'm hearing left, right, and centre how the fans out behind Ange Postecoglou and the fans want rid of him and all this lot. And I think Kate mentioned it. The atmosphere at the ground was absolutely superb. And you just sit there and you just think, are we all watching a different game? We must be, because all I saw was my team win a match 4-0. And yes, it doesn't matter who the opposition was. We won 4-0.
How many times haven't we? How many times have we come up against teams we should beat and we're drawing with them?
Listen, I like to keep a balance. I always keep a balance.
Losing to them.
I mean, I get the critique. No, I get the critique about whether players are good enough, whether the players we bring in a transfer window are good enough. I get all that. There's nothing wrong with that. First thing I always think of when people say something is, have they got a point? Are they correct in what they say? Even if it was going to be an uncomfortable truth for me, I still try to look that way, and that way you can be objective and impartial. You can always look at two ways. The glass is always half empty and half full. You can say it was a good performance, then you can say, well, no, Everton were crap. There's two ways of looking at it. So it's just down to the individual, how their take on our team. I just let them get on with it. I don't get involved in spats.
Adrian, there is a difference between doing what you've just said, and you all get together a day later or whatever, and start to critique, the players, and we know some. But I mean, it was literally when the whistle went, I was seeing people's negativity instantly. There was no, oh great, we've just won 4-0. It was, oh, how shit was Brendan Johnson. And yes,
100%. 100%.
Some might genuinely think that, and others that do a critique might have a different agenda. Like Ian suggested on one of his shows, he believes there's some out there. There probably is some. I wouldn't know how many out there that want a club to fail if it means getting Levy out of the club. But I mean, there may be. If there are some like that, I just think that's sad, to be honest. But I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Your take on the goals in the second half?
Well, I was actually more happy with the Romero goal because we rarely score from a corner. So
beautiful.
I was like, we finally scored from a corner after the first half where Maddison's delivery was pretty poor, if I'm being honest. And I was hopefully, like I said, with the first goal with Basuma, we can score more goals like this, because I think our issues are a lot to do with variation, the lack of variation with the type of goals we score. Because as we know, we tend to score the same kind of goal every time and try and walk it in. So seeing a long shot go in and a goal off a corner is good stuff, right? As for the Son goal, or obviously everyone's labelling it as a Van der Ven goal, Van der Ven is definitely our best player. I mean, hard to disagree with that, to be honest. I think he could probably play with any team in the league. He's probably our one player that could probably play for City, Arsenal, and all of them. And we're going to have to, it's going to be very difficult to keep up with this guy.
Do you think?
Sorry.
Do you think we've been practicing scoring off the underside of the bar?
No, I don't think so. I think
it's just we've been practicing scoring.
Romero,
I get sort of like, obviously it's not the same position, but like Bale vibes off him really. Like I think the guy is going to be, if he's not already there, he's probably world class already. But he's that good.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Wait. I was gone. Oh, kind of. What did you just say? Who's Bale levels?
No, I'm not saying he's there yet, but Van der Ven could be like.
Oh, well, hell yeah!
I'm in agreement with Haz. I think he's pretty close to being that sort of level. I mean, in the next year or two, I think if we're not careful and we don't bring some quality players around our promising youngsters, I think obviously Romero's being linked now, but I think Van der Ven needs to go to a Real Madrid.
Isn't it funny though that he wasn't even first choice?
I will just point something out in there that I agree with you. I think he is an absolute fantastic player, and I'm not trying to put him down. But devil's advocate slightly, we see Van de Ven, and he is absolutely superb, doing them runs, getting back and putting that tackle in. But to me, he doesn't look as accomplished when he's defending within his own box and it's a tight space. I just think he's good. He's learning. Yeah, I think that's
not saying he's not there yet.
He's not there yet. Yeah, no, that's why I say I agree with you. But I just think his strength is that there's no better defender out there when it comes to having to run back and make that tackle. I agree with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But I think his weakness, and we saw it, I think it was against City last year, and you've seen it once against Leicester, I think this year, where the ball was in the box and he was just, he couldn't turn quick enough. And whether that's just the youthfulness of his game or whether that's a weakness to his game, I don't know. But
Soren, I think his weakness, his actual weakness, is his aerial ability. For such a tall guy,
he can't get his head on shit.
For such a tall guy,
I have seen a bit of improvement there, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't swap either of our two defenders for any other defender in the league, to be honest with you.
I think it's because he's so pretty, he doesn't want to spoil his looks.
Yes, Ellie.
I think they're very different. I did see him miss a few headers on the weekend.
To be honest, I don't think we should disguise pace for quality. If you look at Romero's all-round skill on the ball, his composure, the way he passes the ball and everything else, he is not just better than Van de Ven. He's about 5 times better than Van de Ven.
But there's different ways to defend. There's different defenders. There's different defenders. There's different ways to defend. Toby and Jan are a perfect example. They were both wonderful defenders, but they played a different way. Their styles were different, but they were both effective. I think you can be effective without, you know what I mean? You either have to have elite pace or elite positioning, and if you have both, great. But if you have one of them, you can be a damn good defender. And
I think Romero's the ball playing centre half out of the two of them anyway. Because it's like when Jan and Toby, I think, right? I think
they're very different players.
But Toby could play the long balls, but I think Jan was more dictating and playing more than Toby.
I think we all agree that we need to nail them two down. They can't go. They can't leave the club ever.
We can't nail them down. We can't nail them down.
Until they can't play anymore.
Look,
we can't nail them down, AJ. That's the problem.
Yeah,
the only way to nail them down is to bring in top quality players to this club and be ambitious.
Put some concrete in their boots.
It isn't the only way to nail them down to bring in top quality players. The only way to nail them down is by starting to win things. And that doesn't necessarily mean
we only win things with top quality players.
No, we don't.
Oh, here we go.
I'm sorry,
guys.
We're going to win anything with the kids.
Hold on just a second, because we're going a little off track, right? Romero's got 3 years on his contract. I don't worry into the future like other fans do. What happens if so-and-so breaks their leg in the next 4 games or something? I mean, what is that sort of talk, right? Or what happens if VDV pulls a hamstring, you know?
Again.
Worry about it when it happens, not before, right? A game with Romero, right? Now, I love the player. I'll talk about him and then I'll go back to Mark about the goals, right? But Romero, right? He's got 3 years left on his contract. We know he's not going nowhere this season. If we get round to the summer and he doesn't want to sign a new contract, then you sell him. Don't worry about him going. You sell him because, you do not let him run his contract down like Kane did. We were lucky to get 16 mil for Eriksen in a January window before it was going. Right? You don't let them run their contracts down. And if it's hard, and I wouldn't like it if he went, even though I know that we've got Dorrington, Vaskovic, and Ashley Phillips coming in behind anyway, that would cushion the blow. But you don't want to lose a world-class player who's won a World Cup and 2 Copa Americas. Same for any other players that are on. But they'll know the contract situation at the club. They're not going to fall into these traps like they have done in the past, right? So, but any of our players, I don't care who it is. If you get down to 2 years and you don't want to sign a contract, there's 2 reasons for it. You're either not happy at the club, either because we haven't won nothing, or you don't like the deal that's being offered to you. In which case, see you later. Yeah. See you later. You got to be ruthless. When players down to 2 years, look, We got an offer. We got a contract for you. Because you either want to play for my club. You either want to play for my club or you don't. And my club is everything to me, as you lot know, right? So, like, and if you don't want to play for my club, I won't hate you or nothing like that for that, because I don't do hate. But, like, then go. Then just go.
Adrian, I agree with that, right, to a certain extent. But we can't be a sort of feeder club to these top European clubs, or, you know, play teams like City or United, or we can't be a feeder club to them.
But we're not.
Our best players.
Yeah.
But we're not. This is the myth. We used to be, right, back in the days of even Redknapp and Yarl, we used to be. But since, right, the last time we sold two players, the last time we sold a player, we knew Kane was going, right? It was at the end of his contract, he was going. No one minded him going. We knew Ericsson was going as well because of his... The last player we sold as a selling club, when people turn around and think, oh, we're a selling club, right?
Bell?
It's
Bell?
No. It's the biggest load of rubbish going. The last player we sold, right, that we wanted to really wanted to keep. I know we wanted to keep Carl Walker in 2017, right?
Yeah.
That's 7-8 years ago, right? That's 7-8 million. Prior to that, you go back to 2012 and 2013 when we sold Bale and Modric.
Yeah.
And Bubsop was before that, and Carrick was before that.
We're a wealthy enough club now. I know Mark will have his say on this. We're a wealthy enough. We don't have to sell players, and we've got all these kids now on 6-year contracts, right? You want to come and get our players. If they're not happy, now we'll be able to do what a Chelsea and Man City do in the future if our players aren't happy. We'll be able to get decent money for them, whereas we've got crap for some of the rubbish we've had to get rid of. Mark, about the 2 goals in the second half, what do you think of them, mate?
Well, first of all, there is a gentleman on this panel that I may not have sneaked into his back room to watch the game. Right. I'm not obviously big up Colt. And
glad I could help.
Colin's
yeah,
got the
it was good. It was good.
Peters, who's promoting everyone's chat, right?
Yes.
Big up, Chris. Hope to see you at another game. Next time you get tickets, let me know. We'll meet up.
Hang on a minute. I was in full flow then.
Sorry, Mark.
Right, and so there was a stage. There was a stage. It was in French.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was.
Yes.
I was trying to teach us all a little French.
Yeah.
But...
Well, obviously obviously me. I hardly speak English, and so I got no hope with French. But like,
Tom, you lady.
Yeah. And those guys, when Mickey ran, I wanted him to take it on like Sonny did against Chelsea. I want the Burnley one. Sorry, Burnley. I wanted Mickey to take it on and have a pop, because if he'd have scored, that's your whatever Puskas award there.
Do you think he was expecting it to come back though? Because he kind of carried on his run a little bit and then looked over as though to say, "Why haven't you passed it back like a 1-2?"
Well, yeah. Well,
shoot, you give Sonny the ball, you know you're not getting it back. Come on, he's going
to it just looks like that.
Mark,
to be honest,
Mark, it wasn't an easy finish though, was it? It
wasn't. No. And to be honest, he megged Pickford as well. Yeah. You know, I mean, but when Mickey burst down the pitch, all right, there was. First of all, I couldn't believe how open Everton were, because he basically just ran and there was people trying to catch up with him, but no one actually stuck a challenge in on him until he was virtually passing it to Sonny. Right, but I wanted him to have a pop, because if he'd have scored that there's your Puskas Award goal there straight away.
Left wing.
Sorry?
Do you think he can play on the left wing with that pace?
Well, he has played left back, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, but unfortunately, he's too good at being a centre back to do what they did with Gareth Bale.
He actually,
you know what I mean?
He actually said about playing on left back when he substituted how hard it was. When you're an inverted wing back or a wing back, you've got to have a set of lungs on you to go up and down the field. Yeah. He has to beat someone from pace maybe 2 or 3 times, and most time he closes them down.
Oh yeah,
But he's got that fantastic burst of pace when he needs it over a short distance, like a sprinter at the Olympics and things like that. But for the long distance, to cover them kilometres up and down that pitch, up and down, he even he said he struggled a bit. Mind you, he scored two other wonderful goals, didn't he, for us? One from
but then again, I mean, Mickey's only what, 23, 22. You know, he's still developing. You know, and to be honest, we got a fantastic player. And going back to what was said about, like, I mean, the only way to keep these players is to win stuff and show ambition. Get the top players in.
Ellie, are you thinking of changing that? You've changed from Bergvall to Bentancur. You've changed from Højbjerg to Bentancur. Now you've changed to Bergvall. Wouldn't it be cheaper for you to change to VDV? Because it's only 3 letters on the back of your shirt, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. But the thing is, like I said earlier today to you, Adrian, when you called me up, I'm sticking with my boy Bergvall because the Irish Hotspur, he gave me the Højbjerg status. And I ran with it for 2 years. And then the 3rd year, I got so much stick. It was unbelievable. Like, and from people that like me as well, they were giving me so much stick. But it was not personal. It was aimed towards him. And I was there to defend him. But Bergvall,
I remember them.
In him. You know what I mean, Mark?
Yes.
Right? A lot of belief in him, and I like what he did when he came on. But I saw somebody only gave him 5 out of 10, and I was thinking, what game were they watching? Because that sublime move that he did in the centre circle, that was worth a 10 out of 10 just for that. That was worth my 29 quid that I paid to get in.
It was like Son versus Burnley, sort of. But yeah,
it was brilliant what he did. Like, he got the ball, and the ball was part of his body. And all great players, they nurture the ball. And within one swivel, he had left the man for dead, you know. And he was just what I like about him. He chases the ball. He looks for the ball as well. He wants the ball, and he wants to create, which I love about him. So, and he's only 18, for God's sake. You imagine what he's going to be like at 25 in 7 years.
He's so calm on the ball, isn't he, Ellie?
Yeah, he's cool, calm and collected. He looks like an Adonis with the blonde hair and the blue eyes, which is lovely for the eye candy. But I'm not.
So that's why you got him on the back of your shirt, then.
Big thanks to Chris Peters, because I think that he's actually brought something to the attention that me and Mark agree on.
Yes, definitely.
He's looking confused.
Yeah,
she's got a different set of lungs.
So, Ellie, what was the atmosphere like while you were on? We had a good meet up, didn't we?
It was brilliant. It was lovely meeting you all. Adrian, you're a geezer. You are. Jose, lovely guy. I filmed him going in, and as I filmed him, I said,
that was you, was it?
Yeah. I think he appreciated it, but he goes that I'm a nutter, which he knows. Everybody knows I am anyway, so there's nothing new there. And going in with Phil Panayir, he must be the funniest man I've ever met. No disrespect to you guys, but this guy, he's got a joke up his sleeve, a joke in his ear, joke up his. He's really funny, and he's such a passionate Spurs fan. It's a pleasure being with him, right? And I got his ticket. Well, it was his nephew's ticket, I believe, right? Which I only paid £29 for. So don't tell Daniel Levy, because he'll be after the other 51 quid.
Yeah, definitely.
Ben Kaufman and his other half, and Kate.
If
Jim
Daniel Levy's listening, I'm the Spurs ladies ambassador, so I'm entitled to a discount.
Oh no, he'll be calling you up.
We've got paid to go in, Ellie.
You know, I shouldn't pay. I know I shouldn't. And I was born a stone's throw away from the stadium, really. But then we moved to Beaconsfield Road, which is in North 15. So I just think I deserve to have everything free. So Daniel, if you're listening, I'm at your begging mercy.
If you're an ex-player, and I know you've obviously played for the ladies, and you know that there'll be the argument it's men's team, but to me, if you're an ex-player for that football environment, you should be allowed to go back in whenever you want.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what? It'll never happen.
I do get some privileges.
Well, we're not going there, Haz.
It
We
will
are
never
not
happen.
going.
You're asking for something that's never going to happen.
No,
Can I-
although
No, it's not. Well,
Ellie,
Yeah.
Ellie, at the time when you played, was it not the Spurs ladies not affiliated with the club at the time?
Yeah, we were Spurs
'Cause I remember
ladies.
you saying something like
They
that.
gave us a bit of notoriety, that like they paid for our kit, they bought us boots, but they didn't let us play at White Hart Lane
Yeah,
like the girls do now. They don't get a lot of games at White Hart Lane, but the big games they do. But we're working on that on Her Game Too, because Her Game Too is where I'm at as well, and I'm a volunteer. And I'm like an affiliate member of them. And what they do some fantastic work to protect women in sport, in terms of abuse and discrimination, that sort of thing. But they don't only do that; they promote within the club, and they try to get the girls more games at the home stadium.
There is this year, Ellie. There's 3 this year.
Yeah, there's 3 this year, so it's not too bad, but it'd be lovely to have a few more. Especially, obviously, the Arsenal game is always played at White Hart Lane because it's Arsenal, and we beat them last year. Come on, you Spurs.
Well, you can only really play them when the team are away. That's the 19 games, and obviously, apart from the 3 women's games, they'll want to probably put a few academy games in as well for the lads. You know what I mean? So
what I've heard from Her Game Too is because they don't really want to police it, because it's a lot of work for Haringey Council to police it.
Oh yeah, Ellie, we know about that. And that's not going to
we know about that, but we won't go there because it's a political thing. So the main thing is the girls are getting better, and you know, the team is getting stronger, and the manager is fantastic. I think he's like a breath of fresh air. Robert Villaharm. He's brought a new way of playing. And okay, we didn't give a good account of ourselves in the FA Cup final. Sorry, we lost 4-0 to Manchester United, but it wasn't from the lack of effort. It was from the lack of
quality.
No, I don't, because we drew with them 2-2 and we beat them. We've beaten them before, so It's not that. I just think they froze, like we did in the Champions League final. The men. They froze, and it was only Beth England who pulled us through, really. She gave a good account of herself. But the rest of the players, they played well below par. Plus, Man United were like, they were on one that day because they'd lost the previous year to Chelsea. So they really wanted to win. So we should have been on our guard for that, but we weren't. So the main thing is the men and the women, they do meet up a lot now, and I'm actually going to get an interview with them very soon. I'm arranging it very soon, so I'm really excited.
I'm looking forward to that. That'll be cool.
Yeah, and I'll post it everywhere. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah.
We know you will.
Can I just mention Basuma's goal, because I missed the first 2
well,
goals.
that's what the question was with the goals. Yeah, go on, mention the goals.
Because I love Basuma's goal because it was from outside the box, and the way it was worked, it was fantastic. Because Brendan Johnson, for all his sins, right, he done a really good move with Kulu, and then it came across the box, and it came back, and then it went across. Kulu passed it to Basuma, and he whacked it in. First time.
I love the first time factor too.
Like we hadn't had a banger since Romero's goal. I think it was against.
We don't score many goals from outside the box in general.
Van der Ven put one outside the box.
You do when Kulu's there though, because even in the pre-season he got 4 assists doing that.
He was playing in the middle.
Yeah, I hope to see more of it.
Kulu's footwork in the box for that goal was incredible.
Yeah,
it was
incredible.
I agree with you. Brilliant.
It brings something different to our team. Like, you know,
who said he can't beat his man? Of course he can. I don't like it when they say he can't beat his man.
We'll talk about.
You mean Johnson?
Who are your standout performances, AJ?
My standout performance, I think. Even though I disagree,
can be more than one. You know what I mean.
Even though I disagree with him being in the lineup, I think Basuma was quality. What a way to show that you're working hard and to get the fans back on side, and the manager for that matter, then by absolutely levering the ball, top bins. Great goal, great composed performance. Kulu, I think, was excellent. I really like Kulu. He's better in the middle, much better in the middle than out wide, but he's still productive out wide. He still contributes, but you get the best from him by playing him in the middle. And anybody that says that man's rubbish, I'm sorry, entitled to your opinion, but he is a very, very good footballer. Mickey, absolutely incredible. Like, kept a clean sheet as part of the defensive partnership with Kuti. But that run was just, I watch replays of that run all day long. Incredible. And Odebert, yes, okay.
AJ,
The figures, yes.
what did you think of the run from Van der Ven?
Oh, the run from Van der Ven.
You know, just
Incredible.
Just interested to see what you thought.
meters.
I'll tell you all day long. Incredible run. Incredible, intelligent, pacey, powerful. We could do a whole stream just me talking about that run.
No,
let's do it. Let's do it.
Right,
I want to hear it.
With
Outstanding
Odebert.
performance. Now I'm going to move on to Phil, and I want to go up a level and then up to the top
Oh,
again. Right?
can I just quickly, 1 second, can I finish with Odebert? I just wanted to say, I think, yes, okay, the output in the way of stats weren't there, but he had that fullback tied up. That fullback didn't know whether to come short, go long, whether he was going to run in behind, cut inside, hug the touchline, and with
Be ready for people to say though that he's a fullback that doesn't play, and he's you know what I mean. There's all kinds of excuses to be made though that people will make that fullback is shit. So be ready for that.
Yeah. But the right sided centre half came across as well and had to come across to cover. He kept them guessing the whole time. And have we not been screaming out as a fan base for a winger that takes his man on and drives at his man? I hear it all the time. Werner doesn't. Johnson doesn't. Kulu doesn't. Now we've got one. Oh, but he's this. But he wasn't our first choice. But it's only Everton. All these buts. It's nonsensical. He's 19 years old.
Their butts where the sun don't shine.
19 years old. His Premier League debut for his new team in front of 60,000 people. And that poor fullback, he kept him absolutely on his toes the whole time, kept him guessing and contributed to the team. Yes, towards the end, he slacked off a little bit. He got tired. His passing was wayward. But he's 19. Let's give this lad what we've been screaming for, an attacking winger that drives at his fullback. Let's give him time. Let's give him games. Let's see what he can do. Let's see where we're talking about him half the season in.
Right, Phil, standout performance for you in that game?
I've got 3 standout performances. Van der Ven, for me, was head above the rest by a country mile. Maddison, in the last couple of games, I actually think he's becoming the player he was in the first 10 games last season. To be honest with you, I think we're seeing him get back to his best, slowly but surely. And Basuma had a great game. He had a point to prove, and that strike from him was sweet. And he needs to do more of that from outside the box for me, because I think he's got the technical ability to do that for us. But he can't just do this in one game. I want to see him do it on a regular basis, because ever since he come to Tottenham, I haven't seen him be consistent, and I want him to take his chance now and stay playing for that number 6 position or number 8 position.
Has standout performance for you?
For me, it's pretty obvious. The Kulusevski. I think he has to be playing there. I'd even go to push to say that I'd rather see him as a number 10 than Maddison right now. I know Maddison started well, but as Phil alluded to, he had 10 games last season where he was really good, and then he just, we know how the rest of the season went. So, and that I think applies to Basuma as well. He had a decent game. I do think sometimes he switches off, and I did notice that still. and maybe it's the symptom of the whole team. By the way, maybe it's not just him, because as Adrian said before, 2-0, it felt like we kind of played within ourselves. I just feel like sometimes they take the foot off the gas, or they get too casual. I think Bissouma's one of those sort of players that does that quite a bit. So there's still room for improvement there as well. And like with Bissouma and Maddison, it's like, can you be consistent over 38 games or 30 games, let's say?
That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
I'm not jumping the gun with Maddison now, because he started well, but we saw this last year and then he just fell off. Same with Bissouma. So let's just hold off on that. For me, Kulusevski, I want to see him playing in the middle pretty much, and like consistently, because this guy, he can cook. If he plays there, he can actually cook. Like, he played there in the preseason as our best player as a 4-9. He played in Juventus as a number 10, and he played even with Ronaldo. So he even said, I think his preferred position is in the middle. So play him in there. And like I said, we're going to have cup games coming up and Europa coming up. So if we can find a way to play Maddison and Kulusevski in the middle most times against low blocks as well, then I think we'll do really well. I
don't think we'll see Kulu on right wing. No, to be honest with you, unless we have,
under Conte, under Conte it was different. Shall I tell you why? Because we played with wing backs, and the wing backs were meant to be far out wide. And what that allowed is Son and Kulusevski essentially plays for inside forwards, as they call it nowadays. So he wasn't really playing as a wide player, and we were also playing as a counter-attacking team. So it was very different. In this system, the fullbacks invert, and the wings supposedly our wingers are meant to play wide, but I know our wingers cut inside even as well. But this is where we have a problem, because our wingers don't really play wide as much as they should. Even though I don't know what Ange tells them, because I'm not there. I can't, But yeah, I thought Kulusevski was our best player, for me at least.
Soren, I mean, good thing about Bissouma, I thought, was like, Romero looks for him and he's coming for the ball. And then with Maddison and Kulu in front of him, you know that at least Kulu will hold on to the ball better than Maddison will in a tighter situation. So I thought it was good to see Bissouma coming and winning the ball.
I kind of look at it and think, I agree with a lot of what Hazard just said, and I disagree with some parts to it. I don't want to see Kulu playing central, because we tried this last year, and in the 5 or 6 matches he only had one decent game. What I would like to see is Maddison and Kulu playing together, where Kulu's kind of sticking to the right side, Maddison sticking to the left, and then you put that number 6 behind them. Because I do think when you've kind of got two people almost playing that playmaker role, it suits them both. But I don't want to see Kulu on his own trying to be that number 10, because I don't think he's not ready for it yet. I mean, he might become that player. But I think Maddison had a great game. But the problem with Maddison at the moment is he's running out of steam. And when he runs out of steam, he looks terrible. You start seeing those mistakes and things like that. But I thought he was brilliant. But I also think, where as just said, the fact that Kulu was alongside him probably helps him. This is maybe where we had that last year, where Bissouma and Maddison were both on form, and they were both playing for man of the match. And I think we'll see that with Kulu and Maddison, if we stick to them two sort of in the middle and one behind them. Bissouma was great. I thought he had for what just happened and the way he played in that game and the way he sort of stepped up. I think he deserves some praise. I mean, look, I think AJ summed it up with Van der Ven. I'm not going to go into that run because I think he drooled over him enough. Romero was absolutely fantastic, and we did what we had to do. But the only worry I've got is we saw this last season, the first 10 games, we had our defenders scoring, we had our midfielders scoring, we had our wingers scoring, and then all of a sudden it dried up. As long as it doesn't dry up again this year, then let's hope it long continues.
I was going to say, no reason to be afraid of it until it happens.
Yeah,
No.
Colin,
What I
your
was gonna say-
performers in this, your best performers out there in that game.
So I was gone for a second. Sorry about that. But I think I don't know if anyone said Basuma, but I thought Basuma played really, really well. For a long time, people were calling for a kind of more defensive midfielder, and I didn't think we needed one. But he did a good job in that role, whether he was told to do that or not. He kind of did. I feel like he did a pretty good job of shielding the back four, stopping some plays before they even were able to get started. So I think that Basuma is kind of maybe the unsung hero. Obviously, Van de Ven was great. Yeah, the whole team played pretty well. But standout with my player will be Basuma, especially with the things that had been going on, and the stuff in the media and the manager talking about him specifically, because he was asked, but all that's hard. That's all hard to deal with, I think, as a player a little bit. And I think that he did it all very maturely, and wants everybody to forgive him, which is good. He cares. He clearly cares. He came over and celebrated in front of the fans. I don't know. I'm proud of his character and his comeback, and I hope long may it continue.
Mark, outstanding performance for you?
Well, obviously what the rest of them have said. Kuti, Van de Ven, Basuma did well. Kulu did well. Even the new guy, Odebert, did well. But it's too early for him. The whole team, basically. The whole team did well apart from Brennan, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Ellie, you there?
Yeah.
Your take on the
outstanding players? Well, it goes without saying, Van de Ven. He was absolutely brilliant. Romero was fantastic, led by example, brought the ball out, was very precise with his passing. He done one sublime pass, which was brilliant. And I'd give the other one to Odebert, because it must be hard, right, coming into a team, right, and every time he got the ball, you thought something was going to happen, and everybody got up off their seats, and I like to see that, right, and he's an exciting player to watch, and he's so tricky, and he's got very quick feet, and we've been crying out for that sort of thing. So to come in for his first game, yes, it wasn't perfect, but it was fantastic the way he took on his player and his quick feet, and he made me excited anyway, and the rest of the crowd, they warmed to him, so I think he's going to be a very big fan favourite, and I hope we see more of him, because he deserves, after putting that performance in, to stay in the side.
He's confident, isn't he, Ellie? He's a confident,
very
confident player.
Yeah.
I mean, he's totally the opposite to Johnson is now.
Do you think he's like a young Raheem Sterling?
A bit more muscular.
As in, he shows a lot of promise, but the end product isn't there yet. And I think that's how Raheem Sterling, he had that pace. He went for his man all the time, but he just didn't necessarily put the end product in all the time.
Yeah,
he can polish up. He can polish up his game. He's only 19.
I mean that's what I'm saying.
Loads of time. Yeah. I know what you're saying.
He can score as many goals as Raheem Sterling did for Man City in that peak season. That'd be lovely. But we need all our players to score, and he has the ability, I think, to score. So I want to see more of him, because the more game time you get, Soren, everybody knows you improve your game. All right. So, and it'll be generally with the other players as well, making combinations with them.
Yeah, the one player he can learn off is Sonny on that left-hand side. You know what I mean? So he'll learn a lot of Sonny in training.
My take on the team and Wilson Odebert, it was a good performance. I think he got overhyped, but he is young. He's playing in front of a 60,000 crowd for the first time and all that. It was okay to good. It wasn't a sensational performance. He showed things what fans want, that excite fans. So that gets them carried away a bit more than usual. The other thing I've noticed is we aren't quite on point at match sharpness. you can do all the pre-season you want, giving players half a game each, and you can still nothing substitutes for match games and match sharpness.
True.
You Doggy's not on point yet, in my opinion. He's
No.
not. Sarr wasn't at Leicester, right? But these are still young players, and you're going to get this with form. Form is going to dip with these players. It happens throughout the season. They're young. And then you get even Romero give an odd sloppy pass. We had a very good game, but that ball he put through straight into the middle, it just got cut out straight away. I mean, like, that's a no-no in a coaching manual, right? And I just still think that it's not been a bad start. The point of Leicester is still a very good point. Disappointing we didn't win, obviously, but it didn't warrant, the meltdown from certain areas of the fan base over that, right? But I just think, okay, now we got these two. Let's build momentum now and get something from Newcastle, if not all three, because I think we can beat them after what I've seen them. And then we got the dreaded international break. What I want to do now, and you in the chat can help, and this is where we want to encourage people to subscribe, is we want to do the players' ratings one by one and get your marks out of 10 for the players, and I'll put them down here before we move on, right? By the way, just to add, come Friday, the show will run from 8 to 11 because the transfer window shuts at 11 o'clock, and we'll also be discussing the Europa League draw, which I'm not sure. There are conflicting reports whether it's at noon, just before noon or early afternoon, but it won't affect us because we're not on till 8, right? So you
Adrian, what day is it? Sorry,
Friday.
Friday noon. Okay. All right, okay.
I think it's round. I've heard. I need to go and double check this. It'll be done and dusted before we're on there at 8.
All right, okay. All right.
So we'll be going to 11 because that's when the window was shut.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll run from 8.
I think I might be going to the training ground on deadline day because it's quite exciting. I've been a couple of times before,
It's a bit early to protest, isn't it? It's a bit early for the protesters, don't
I could, but I might lose my discounts.
Right, so we'll start off with the panel, and I've got to get a pen out of this and write this down. I'll go around all of you. You in the chat can join in. We want you to join in because this is what we want to do in the future. Get the chat to engage as much as possible. So can I have your marks for Vicario, please? So we'll start with AJ.
Solid 7.
7.
I love that.
Phil?
Yeah, 7 for me. 7 as AJ.
And what we're going to do with these, by the way, is at the end of the year, we're going to compare our marks with Talcum Ball and Eltel Cockerell's player ratings, right? Because that just for fun. This is for fun anyway. Has Vicario?
7.
Okay. Colin? Vicario?
I feel like I'm just saying the same thing as everybody, but 7.
Yeah.
He didn't have much to do. If he had more to do, maybe it would have been higher, but 7 seems fair.
He did that one good save in the first half when it got through. Soren?
I'm going to be controversial, and I'm going to give him an 8 because
Here we go.
he kept a clean sheet. He kept a clean sheet. His concentration was there, and he didn't really do much wrong. I know he didn't do much all, but I think to me, I'm going to give him an 8 just to be awkward.
Just got to be different, haven't you?
Yeah, that's my middle name.
Yorkshire. That's one. Yorkshireman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark.
Well, I'm going to go along with everybody else and give him a 7. On the pretense that he didn't have hardly anything to do, but the loudest cheer of the whole game is when he caught that ball, when they had about 7 corners in a row. Then he come out and claimed it. I mean, we all had our hearts in our mouth at that stage when they had 5 or 6 corners in a row.
Yeah.
But when he actually came out and grabbed it, the whole crowd went mad. It was like we'd scored a goal.
It's
Because
true.
we never rarely see him actually go and catch it. Like he might.
No.
Yeah.
So he's
Did
been
have
listening
three
and
solid.
training, hasn't he? Have we got a new goalkeeper coach? I believe. Is that correct?
No, we still got Mark. We still got Birch.
Okay, so he's obviously listening to him now because he's actually cool. But I'll give him a solid 7 as well.
But
I'm not going
what's
to be controversial
apparently
because I'm not from
Nick
Yorkshire.
Montgomery and Serge Romando that were brought in from Mariners in Australia, and they managed the Scottish under-21s and he managed Hibernian in Scotland.
Yeah.
Nick Montgomery is now apparently taking charge of all the zonal marking and the man
What's
marking.
doing zonal marking, Adrian?
Well, not zonal, but he's taking charge of defensive responsibilities with the team, right?
It definitely looked more man-to-man in the match, didn't it? I thought it did anyway.
Yeah.
Make bloody
I
time.
would have given him an 8, but he was a bit shaky sometimes when he was receiving the ball and passing it out. He's still a little bit nervous because he's made a few errors in pre-season. So I want him to be confident because he's such a fantastic communicator.
So you give him
his
what?
distribution has been that great anyway, to be honest with you. I mean,
Yeah, he needs to improve it a little bit.
yeah.
He does.
So what
Like
mark are you
sometimes
giving
he's a
him,
bit
Ellie?
apprehensive. I'll give him a 7.
A 7. He didn't have much to do, did he, really?
Not really. Didn't even have to pick up the ball out the back of the net, which was great.
That makes a hell of a change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. If I've got a criticism of Vicario, I think when he played that first game a bit nervously against Brentford when he came in, I thought his distribution of the ball was quicker, and I think it tends to slow down. It's not as bad as Lloris, where he'd go for a Sunday stroll in his penalty area before he got rid of the ball.
That's
Nowhere near as
true.
bad as Lloris
That's true,
for his distribution, but he just seems to be a bit slower. He seems to dither a bit more with the ball, and you've got to move it quickly if you don't the opposition to get set and you want to break on them and get, overloads on them. So 7. Okay, we'll move on.
With Vicario, forgive me because at my age, days tend to disappear. Was it the Everton game where he gave Bergvall a gobful, or was that the Leicester game?
Leicester game.
Leicester.
Leicester, right? Forget it then. It doesn't matter. Carry on.
It was Leicester. Yeah, well, I just hope that on that point with Vicario, that you should have at least your goalkeeper should always be mouthing off, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So you must really like the Everton guy, Pickford. You must really like Pickford.
Well, Schmeichel was good at it with Man U, wasn't he?
One of the best ever, though.
Yeah, I mean, you need one of your centre backs to be vocal to marshal the back four.
100%.
And we need to get. And I don't care if he speaks Spanish. You can soon learn a swear word in Spanish.
I'm pretty sure that one's Spanish.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Right then, we'll go for you again, AJ. You doggy.
He was part of the defence that kept a clean sheet, so I'd say 7. I would give him a 6. I think he did lose the ball a fair bit. I don't think he was as match sharp as he could be. I think he's still got another 2 games to go before he's up to full speed. So yeah, I'll say 7.
Phil?
I'm going for a 6 on this one. I think a doggy at the moment isn't match fit. I think he's behind the rest of the players, especially in pre-season. So I think he needs a couple more games, really. I wouldn't take him out of the starting 11. I'm not saying that, but he just needs a few more games to get up to speed with how he was performing before.
Can I know we're doing the thing. Can I ask y'all a question real quick?
Go on.
How many more games do we give him to get back into form? I mean, so say he's not back in form for another game or 3. Do we move? I said, do we move Van der Ven over there and then put Dragic in the middle?
No.
But
Well, I was going to say, to be honest, we got no choice but to play him because he's the only one we got.
Yeah,
I would say we either have to move VDV over there, or we have to play Spence.
I don't think it's as bad as that. I don't think.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He hasn't had a proper pre-season because he was injured.
That's what I'm saying. I have no doubt he's going to get back into form, but I think it's going to be a game or 2 games to get him back to his best. I don't think it's a problem. I have no doubt he's going to get back to his best, but I just think it's taken a little bit longer than the rest of the players that have had a pre-season.
That makes sense. Yeah, I feel you.
You doggy.
I'm going to agree with Phil here, 6.
Whoa.
Same reasons, really. The thing with the Dogi I've noticed even from last season, he tends to switch off sometimes, and it's something he needs to work on because he did a few mistakes last season. I think I remember with the United, or was it United? Someone else, we passed the ball straight to and they scored. But like he's killed that out of his game, honestly. And I just think, again, like Phil said, because he hasn't played pre-season, it's just going to take a while for him to get back up to speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Colin, you Doggy.
Yeah, 6 is fair. He is getting up to speed. He was wonderful at times last season. I think he can get back. I can get back to that. He's also fairly young. Sometimes defensive players don't like fully mature and get to their best until they're a little bit older. And he's by far the best we've got. We don't have another option really. Our other options are, like I was saying, not good. So 6. Let's play him and let's get him back into form. 6 for me.
Soren?
Well, I was going to say 6, but seeing as has said 6, I can't agree with him. So I'm going to say 6.15. No, I think, I think I'm probably going to go with a 6 as well because he wasn't terrible, but he didn't really do a lot neither. I think, like Phil said, I think he hit it on the nail on the head. He's just not match fit. He's just not at the races. So, 6.5 because I think 6 is quite low and I think 7's too high. So 6.5. Sorry.
Mark, you Doggy.
Yeah. A 6. A 6 everyone said it. He's not match fit. He's not really at the races. He had no preseason. He can do better, but to be honest, he's the only one we got at the moment.
Ellie?
So
I'm sorry, Mark. Go on, carry on.
No, that's right. No, that's right. I'm done.
Ellie, you Doggy.
You Doggy. You can't really give him a high mark because we know what he's capable of, and it's not what he's producing in the last couple of matches. And it's obviously because, like the rest of them say, it's match fitness. So he needs to get that up. I think 6 is a fair score because you can't give him a 5 because he did do some good things and he links up quite well. And he did bomb forward, but he's not the same player that we know because we've seen what he can do. And he's a very exciting player. When he gets going, he just goes past players like they're not there. So I think 6 is a really good score for him because that's what he deserves. He don't deserve any less or any more.
Right, and I'm giving him a 6 as well. Now, batten down hatches. VDV, Phil?
I'm going to go with a 9.
9.
Because I don't think there is a perfect performance, to be honest with you. So I'll go with a 9. Yeah, there's not much really he did wrong. He can polish up on his aerial ability on set pieces. That's why I'd probably knock 1 point off. But everything else he did with assurance, he's a brilliant player. And I think we're very, very lucky to have him, and I hope he's here for the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
AJ, VDV.
Oi, Soren, I can hear you laughing already.
Just mark the run.
Go on.
I'd give him a 10. I'd give him a 10 just for the run alone. But realistically, I'll say 9. I think he was good defensively, and that run. I mean, he's got to go in the Hall of Fame for that, surely.
Well, what about Sonny's run against Burnley then?
He gets in there with Sonny.
Son against Burnley and against Chelsea absolutely ripped them apart.
Yeah, when he done Louise and
absolutely. Those goals are just special. Only Son could have scored those. There is no other player on our team in the last 10 years that could have scored that type of goal, and he did it twice. Ran through Burnley, ran round Chelsea. Incredible.
As VDV.
I'm probably going against the grain here, but I'll give him an 8
How dare you?
Yeah. But I don't think he had. It's not because he played badly. I just don't think he had that much to do in terms of recoveries compared to previous games. So you didn't really see him do that much. But I couldn't give him less than like an 8 because of the goal. Well, not the goal we scored, but the goal we set up. So yeah.
Colin
has hit it on the head. I'm going to give him an 8 also.
Colin.
I know it seems harsh maybe, but yeah, I mean, just didn't quite have enough to do for it to be much higher than that. But he did well. He did great. I mean, 8 and 80. That's a B. That's a B here in America. You know what I mean? Like that's a good score. Yeah, the run maybe knocks it up to a 9, but I don't know. I don't want to overhype anybody. 8. We'll just go with 8.
Yeah. Soren?
Let's be realistic here. The run was basically what it was. He kicked the ball on his own box, and because he runs that fast, he was just stumbling all the way to the other end. And it wasn't really a tactical run. So I mean, we can only give him a 6, surely. Let's be a bit more down to earth. No, I find it hard not to give him a 9, and I find it hard not to score it at 8 because I don't think any of the defenders had a massive amount to do. So I'm going to go 8.5.
He's harsh. He's harsh. What's going on? Sitting on the bench here, sorry.
Oh. What's wrong with 8.5? How's that harsh?
Mark, VDV?
Ooh, yeah. Well, in all fairness, he is a defender and he didn't have nothing to do. Really. But for the run, 8. But because the run deserves a hell of a lot, but let's face it, he's a defender and he shouldn't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in my opinion. But he never had nothing to do because Everton never offered nothing. If he'd have put, if we were playing, I don't know, Real Madrid or something, and he'd saved 3 goals by his tackles and his pace and all that, it would have been 10. You know?
Yeah. No, it's fair enough. Ellie, VDV.
It's difficult because he was, like everybody says, he didn't have much to do defensively, but that's not his fault. But the run was sublime. That's why I've got to give him a 9. And I'm
Ellie.
Yeah, I have to give him a 9 because you rarely see somebody run and keep control of the ball for that distance. I just feel he deserves a 9 just for the run. And the way he slipped it to Sonny, he had the presence of mind to slip it to Sonny with a very beautifully weighted pass. And all Sonny had still a lot to do. It was a tight angle, but I've just got. He got me off my seat just watching him, and I filmed it as well. So, yeah.
I'd argue against the run is there wasn't actually a challenge to him, was there? It was
everybody to dead.
Yeah.
No, I think they all stood off him. And look, I'm not knocking the run. I'm not having AJ coming down after me because
AJ will get you. He'll get you.
Yeah, but
Sonny ran. He didn't have a challenge on him as well.
Well, he did.
Sonny
he had players running by the side of him.
Yeah, which Van der Ven didn't. No, but
several players against Burnley tried to chop Sonny down.
I was coming
but
to
they
that
couldn't.
mark, actually. If a player had scored a goal like that against us, our fan base was going, "Why didn't no one chop him down?"
Yeah,
I mean, they would, wouldn't they?
Couldn't catch him to chop him down.
Yeah.
It was a superb run, but there wasn't a challenge put in.
Yeah,
it was like the parting of the Red Sea. It was like the parting of the Red Sea when he ran out there because there was nobody there.
He used his pace.
You rarely see it. You rarely see that sort of run by any player.
But you could see the gap that there was just a gaping hole down the middle of the field.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree, but you still have to utilise.
I'm not knocking the run. You
gave him 8.5 Solid, so you went halfway, didn't you?
I mean, I'd have been knackered by the time I got to my own edge of my own box, and he started there. So I'm not going to say anything against it, but I'm just saying for the run as good as it was allowed to happen.
You know what it reminded me of? Do you remember when we played Man United and Vertonghen went on that run away from home and he scored a goal that game?
Was that
sick.
we were on 3-2?
It reminded me of that.
We
I
won
mean, had he
3-2.
scored at the end, then it would have been
AUB, it was some
Yeah.
doubt, but we won
Yeah.
3-2.
I wanted him to have a pop, to be honest.
I'm
I
giving VDV an 8. The other interceptions he made were good, but I look at it in the context over 90 minutes as well. So he gets an 8 for me. Right, we'll move on to AJ Romero.
Romero, 9. Got to be a 9. If I'm marking Mickey a 9, I mean, he kept a clean sheet and he scored a goal, a solid goal from a corner, rose above everyone, absolutely powered it home. Got to be a 9.
Fantastic neck muscles. Boof.
Absolutely.
Phil Romero, you there? All
Has he
right,
gone?
I'll come back to him.
He's probably got the loo.
Probably got a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Hey, Romero.
I'm giving him an 8. I thought it was good that he got his goal, so I could give him a 7 for that. But like you, Adrian, I kind of have a pet peeve with Romero, and it doesn't seem to be going away. You say that he holds onto the ball too long. There was an instance in the first half. If you guys remember this, I think it was maybe 1 or 2-0 up. We were just playing it around the back, and Romero was just casually just strolling around. And you know how we all get impatient for them to get rid of it out of the box. Because I end up having to get up and start swearing at them to get rid of the ball. Because it's like, what the hell? We play ourselves into trouble so much. It's just and Romero was the guy that was doing it. So I was like,
he does take you
my head off, and they finally got rid of it. But
you know why he does that, Has? Because his balls are that big, he's got to pick out which is the ball to kick.
Didn't take long, did it? Mind you, only took Aaron half to get to. Right.
Yeah, I was
Colin Romero.
I'd have to agree. I think 9 is a fair score for him. Played really well. Marshaled the defense. Played us out from the back a lot. Yeah, there might be a little bit more to be desired from that, but he can improve there. He probably will improve there. And then the goal was really nicely taken. It's nice to have one of our players get their head on a ball first, because that doesn't happen all that often. So I'm going with 9 for the man, agreeing with my boy AJ.
Okay. Soren?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to echo. I mean, I was going to say 8.5, but the fact he got the goal, I think you've got to give him that little bit extra. He didn't make that run, but I don't think he needs to make the run, because he's passing. I mean, I know where Haz is coming from when he says he hangs onto it, but his passing range and his vision and his willingness to go forward, I think he deserves a 9, definitely.
Okay. I think Haz has had to go.
Okay.
Mark?
Oh, that's what's that? Just for scoring, a 9. A 9. Yeah, just for the goal. Yeah.
Ellie Romero.
Yeah. He's one of those players who splits the fan base. He's the only one really with a lot of aggression in our team, which I love. I think it's brilliant. It reminds me of Graham Roberts. Goes crunching in, doesn't take any prisoners. And he didn't really have to do that in this game, because Everton were pants. But what I did see is that he was very cultured, very thoughtful when he passed the ball. He's got very good vision, like Soren pointed out. And the goal was fabulous. The way he rose above. And Tarkowski is no slouch defender. He's mean, and he'll get stuck in, and he'll put his hip in, or he'll put his arm in, to dig you, right? So he's a tough defender. For him to beat him, I can't remember the other defender, but he beat another man as well to it, and he powered it in. So I think he does deserve a 9, because his distribution was fantastic as well. Although
those passes to Maddison were exquisite.
Fantastic. there was one brilliant pass which I thought brilliant, because sometimes you have to take your time in football. I don't believe he's not a typical Ange Postecoglou defender or player to that effect, because he doesn't move the ball quickly. He likes to nurture, he likes to feel the ball. He's Argentinian, isn't he? He likes to feel his ball. Right? So, I won't get too rude, but what I like about him, he's very thoughtful when he passes the ball. He doesn't just pass it willy-nilly. And 9 times out of 10, it'll be a really good ball. So,
willy-nilly?
I love
Willy-nilly?
Yeah.
Can willy-nilly play on the right wing?
He could
If
do.
so, sign him up.
He could
cuts in a lot.
Johnson.
I
No,
want Jose on the team.
He does take his time sometimes, and I do get a little bit frustrated sometimes. But when he pulls out a pass, I thought, well, it was worth waiting for. So, yeah, I think a 9 is deserved.
Phil, Romero, score.
Romero.
Romero.
He's my favourite player, so I'm going to give him a good score here. To be fair, I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to give him a 9. I'm going to give him a 9. Okay. Simply because of his distribution with the ball, especially to Maddison for them chances. Mm-hmm. He should have put them away. By the way.
Should have,
but yeah, I think Romero uses class, especially when he's on the ball, and it's his aggression. And I think he's channeled that as well now, from last year. I think he knows when to sort of go in for challenges now. He's not so rash. I think he's improved his game no end with that. So yeah, I think a 9 for Romero.
I know it's only been 2 games. I know it's only been 2 games, but he hasn't received a card yet, has he?
No,
that's astonishing.
I mean, I'll come to that. I'm giving him an 8, mainly because I've got others that I want to give 9 to coming through this game. But I just want to balance out our score. Yeah, with Romero, I think when Ange came in after Conte, when you're playing that high line at the back, he mainly has to get involved in a foot race with players as well. So if it's him or Villa involved in a foot race, when you're playing a low block, you're making a lot more tackles because you're defending for most of the game under Conte. So the more tackles you make, my theory is, the more chance you've got of getting a yellow card. And a lot of the time he was left as the last-ditch defender and he'd went out and take someone out. So I just think this system suits him. I think it suits him for not getting cards. I mean, it suits Van der Ven as well. If they pick up yellow cards, it's going to be last-ditch tackles around the edge of the penalty area. Because if he goes forward and scores a goal, it's not because he's going to go forward to lump someone, So I just think the system suits him, but we shall see over a season, won't we? And look, there's enough for 22 players to get 24 games each. We've got a minimum 48 games this season, so plenty of times. Right, we move on. AJ, Porro.
7.
Okay. That was short and sweet, Colin. Porro.
Shit, I feel like I'm being a heel, or not a heel, but just a 7. I that's the only score I could give him. He did a good job, but there wasn't anything too special. Yeah, sorry to copy you, AJ, but 7 for me as well.
Soren?
7.
See, it's hard.
Yeah.
Phil?
I'll go with a 6, same as the Doji. I think, I just think that I don't know. I just think he had a similar sort of game to a Doji. I think it wasn't. I just think it was an average performance from him. I don't think it was.
I agree.
That's
why I'm marking the same.
Yeah, I don't think it was to do with his performance as such. I think it was just the way the game panned out.
Do you know, it almost felt like we had a game of blankety blank going until you spoke, Phil. You had to be different.
I just think he had a pretty average game. Nothing to do with his sort of fault really, but it was just the way the game sort of petered out. If it sort of went, if it was sort of like an end-to-end game, I think his performance would have arisen.
He did cut in and have that shot with his left foot that just went wide because
right on half time.
Thoughts of like him scoring again because he scored a couple like that in the corners.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I have no doubt in Pedro Porro's ability or Udogi's. I know I've given him a 6 and I'm being a little bit harsh on him, but I don't think it's to do with sort of them per se. I think it was to do with how the game panned out.
Mark?
Yeah, well, it's like the defense had so little to do. It's hard to like give them like points, to be honest. Yeah, 7. You know, it was like he did his job. You know, it was the defense. Hey, what? Just for that elbow.
That elbow was sweet.
Okay.
I thought for sure that fella's nose was broken for sure. He got him good.
It was accidental. Come on.
Yeah, no, for sure. But man, I was like, oh, rad. I was surprised there wasn't blood everywhere. It looked like
accidental. I thought I was watching a UFC.
Oh, come on. He was just trying to get over the top of him. That's a natural.
It was good.
First and foremost, I want to give Colin's cat 10. Because the comments coming in are funny. Anyway, Porro, yeah, he just had a steady Eddie game. He didn't do anything spectacular. Didn't have much to do because they didn't cause us anything apart from the 5 corners they got towards the end of the first half. Other than that, they were quite absent. So I'll give him a 6 because you can't really give him a 7 because he didn't do anything to warrant a 7. All right, yeah, he had the shot, but he should have scored it, really. He normally bangs them in, doesn't he? So for that fact, I'm only giving him a 6. Sorry, Porro, but I do love him. I think he's a fabulous player.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm giving him a 6 as well. Now, AJ, Basuma.
I'm going to give Basuma an 8. I think he put in a good performance and he took a very, very good goal. Very good goal. We don't score many from outside the area and it was hit with laser precision. So yeah, I'll give him an 8. He's made a very good start by trying to earn the trust and the credibility back from the fans and the manager.
Phil, Basuma.
Yeah, I think 8's pretty fair. I think he had to have this performance. I think he had to put in a performance like he did, and the goal just sort of topped it off, really. But like AJ said, I mean, he's got to kick on from this now. I don't think he's actually built the bridge yet, but he's building it. He's building the trust back with the team, the manager, and the club. Putting these sort of performances in on a consistent basis. So let's hope he does that.
Soren, Basuma.
I'm going to find it hard. I'm going to give him an 8 because he scored the goal. He was better than he has been for a long time. He showed a bit more passion. He showed more glimpses of what he can do. And I think for the fact that he scored that goal, then I can't give him too much less. So has the draw been done for round 3? Have we got Doncaster? Am I reading that right?
No, well, I thought you put the Everton.
Oh
No. Everton must have beat Doncaster 3-0, I think. Because Rico's Everton fan.
I know QPR are playing because my husband's at the match.
Right. I just saw safely through to round 3, Doncaster. But
I think the Champions League clubs and the Europa League clubs have got a buyer through the first round of the League Cup.
Yeah, no.
The second round. The second round.
Sorry, I'm going to give this an 8.
Right, Colin. Basuma.
Basuma, I'll give Basuma an 8, and I'll be the first to say I think Basuma got a little bit of a. I think he got it too hard from people, and I know that I'm gonna maybe get some sick for that. But like, young man, a lot of money, did something that
He's not so young though, is he anymore?
No, you're right, but I do stupider shit than that.
28, isn't he?
I've probably done. I probably did stupider shit than that 2 weeks ago, and I know that I'm not a professional footballer, and I know that but like, it's a thing that didn't used to be illegal. It's legal in a bunch of other countries, all surrounding, all these other European countries. And anyway, stupid thing, but we all forgave Lloris for driving with sick all over himself. Could have killed a bunch of people. So. We got to move past it. I think he did a good job at helping us move past it by playing well. Had he put in a poor performance, we would have all been all over him, of course. Yeah, I'll give him an 8. And long may it continue. If he keeps to playing like this, then we're in good shape. We got the player that we wanted from Brighton.
Mark Basuma.
Right, now I'm just going to do live on my phone, live Carabao Cup results, and if it. Borough 0, Stoke 5. Barnsley 1, Sheffield United 0. Barrow and Derby is gone to penalties. Blackburn 1, Blackpool 2. Brighton 4, Crawley 0. Coventry 1, Oxford 0. Everton beat Doncaster 3-0. Fleetwood 2, Rotherham 1. Grimsby 1. Sheffield Wednesday 5, Harrogate 0, Preston 5, Leicester and Tranmere 4-0 to Leicester, Millwall lost 1-0 at home to Leyton Orient. Now, Ellie's game, QPR and Luton is 1-1 and it's gone to penalties. I wish I'd never started this now.
Winks scored for Leicester as well in the 90th minute.
Oh, did he? Shrewsbury 0, Bolton 2, Walsall 3, Huddersfield 2. Oh, Watford 2, Plymouth 0. That's going to upset my son-in-law. That's going to upset my son-in-law. Birmingham 0, Fulham 2, and Palace 3, Norwich 0. Oh no, that's still going. 80th minute. Palace 3, Norwich 0. So that's that. Anyway, Basuma. Right. Whether any of us wanted him in the team or not, that's immaterial. He played. I mean, it was nice to see when he scored his goal, he went to the fans and offered an apology. And then he went to the manager and he hugged him, I think, and that's sort of an apology for him. I mean, he's still got a long way to go. I mean, hopefully with what's happened, this is a fire under his backside or a kick at the backside, and, because you don't want to see him on the catwalks modelling stuff or, what he's been up to. We want a footballer, and if he doesn't do it, sell him, but I'll give him an 8.
Ellie, Basuma.
I'll go with an 8 as well, because I don't think it was a perfect performance, because he had 2 early passes that went astray. Yeah. But he commanded the midfield. That's what I liked. That's what we know Basuma can do.
Yeah.
He would command the midfield, and he wanted the ball, and he was lively, got forward a lot, scored a cracking goal, fantastic goal, brilliant. And he doesn't score many goals, does he? But yeah, an 8. I think an 8 is a fair score.
That's his first goal for us. I'm giving him an 8 as well. AJ Kulusevski.
Oh, Kulu. Got to be a solid 8. Solid 8. I think he did. He did what Decky does. Do you know what I mean? He's strong. He's got great feet. I mean, you're not getting the ball off of him, are you? Let's be honest. I mean, even if you go in with a baseball bat, I don't think you're getting the ball off him. Great work to set Basuma up, and just was a danger. I think the whole match, he was an outlet. He was, for me, Kulu gets a solid 8.
QPR just won on penalties, by the way, because my husband was doing a live commentary on the penalties with me, because he supports QPR, unfortunately, for him.
Phil,
Yeah, they beat
Kulusevski?
Luton.
Kulu.
Kulu.
I'll give him a 7.
Oh,
7.
Oh, Phil.
No, I don't think. I don't think he
He's
played
happy
as
Phil's today,
well as
hasn't
he. I don't think he played as well as you lot think, really. Or well, in my eyes, anyway. I think he had a solid game. You know, he kept the ball well. I expect him to do that every time, anyway. That's one of his great attributes is holding the ball up for us. I think he brings a lot of good play to this team, but I didn't see him. He set up Basuma's goal. Yeah, granted. I don't know, man. I didn't think he deserved an 8. I don't think he put a stamp on the game as much as like Basuma did, or you know, as well as the defenders played as well. So I'll give him a solid 7. A solid 7.
I like that. Solid. I like that. Solid 7.
Well, I was lucky not to watch the miserable buggers. Dream,
Sorry, I was eating a cracker.
I'm giving him an 8.
Yes, Owen.
No, I can see where Phil's coming from, but again, I just think with Kulu, he just don't stop, and sometimes you think he hasn't had a great game, but when you actually see how much work he's gone through, it might not be all creative, or it might not be all, glitzy and sparkly, but he does a lot of work. So I think for that reason, I'm going to go on an 8.
His defensive work is incredible. He is one of the most defensive-minded attackers we have.
And that's what I mean. He gets through a lot of work.
Yeah, I'll add to that, Soren, with Kulu, like just the way he plays. He's not massively exciting as a player.
Yeah.
But like what he does do is effective, right? Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of Spurs fans pass his performances by, because it goes unnoticed what he does in games.
What you've got to think about with Kulu is, a lot of people say he can't play on the wing, but what he does do when he's on the wing, he helps his right back as well. And he's very defensive. It makes it a solid side. And the same where he's playing that sort of middle, in the middle, but alongside Maddison, the work he goes through allows Maddison to do his bit, and it also helps Porro. So for that reason, that's why I think he deserves that 8.
Yeah, I think he's underrated as a player. I think.
Yeah. It's underrated. I think it's undervalued, maybe.
Yeah. With that.
So I love Kulu. Ever since we got him, something about the way that he runs and moves with the ball reminds me of Kane. I know that's dumb, and then people will be like, "You're stupid. You don't know ball." But he really does. He is really good at holding on to the ball. He's really good at using his body. He's smart. He's a smart player. He knows his limitations, but uses his intelligence to kind of propel himself past those limitations. Speaking on the game the other day, though, I was doing a watch along. You got to bring up comments. It's harder to see everything happening. So I didn't see a ton of them. I didn't notice him doing a lot, but I also didn't notice him doing anything bad. So that's a good thing. I got to say 7 for me. And it could be that he was better than that, but just based on what I remember seeing, 7.
Mark?
I will agree 100% with Colin, because I was trying to focus on my phone where I had Colin's show on and watch the football. I mean, I hate, I've been on shows where they do watch-alongs, and I hate it because you're trying to concentrate what's going on here, and you're trying to look at your phone or your telly or whatever to watch football, and you're watching it, and someone will say, "Oh, Mark," and you're like, what? And you miss half the game, So, I mean, I prefer Kulu in the middle. Definitely. So, a solid 7. A solid 7, because I agree with what everybody else says about he does run around a lot and he puts a shift in.
Yeah. Right, I think 7 as well. I would give him an 8, but I don't think he did quite enough to get an 8. But he does. He's one of those players that he's like they say, his work goes unnoticed because he's such a hard-working player and he brings so much to our team, which a lot of people don't appreciate because they think that he's laboured and they think that he can't pass his player, but he does. He often beats his player.
He's an absolute workhorse.
Yeah, they catch up with him sometimes, and then he'll check back on his left. But he's an intelligent lad. I like the way he plays. I think he's fabulous the way he nurtures the ball. He's very intelligent. He knows what to do in tight situations as well. And if we had better strikers to finish off, he'd had a lot more assists. Because we had Kane when he got all those assists, remember? And Kane's a deadly finisher. So now he hasn't got them. His assists have gone down. But like you said, Adrian, he scored 8 last year. So, and he did for his standard, he had a poor season. But yeah. I'm looking forward to what he can offer us this season. And I think 7 is more of a fairer score. If he'd done a few more things, I would have given him an 8. But I think 7's fair.
I'm giving him an 8. I thought he had a very good game. And he got us going with the first goal. And the vision for the first pass was vital to get us going in that game. Gone on much longer without us scoring. The crowd might have got a little bit restless. Yeah, I'm giving him an 8. Okay. AJ, Maddison.
Maddison gets an 8 as well from me. I think he played well. The thing is with Maddison is most of anything that's positive and attacking comes through him. He's not as hardworking as Kulu, but I think he's got the creative edge over Kulu. The issue I have with Maddison is it's easy to get in his head, and he's so slight. Look at him stood next to Kulu. It looks like father and son. You know, he's a very slight build, and I think he gets bullied and roughed off the ball too easily. But I do think he had a solid performance. I would say 8.
Okay, Colin.
I keep eating. Sorry about that. So,
well, Colin, if you've got to go, give me Maddison. Give me Maddison, Odegaard, Son, Johnson, and Ange. Right?
Yeah, sure thing. So Maddison, 8. He's looking more like he did at the beginning of his first couple games here, and I'm glad, and I'm hoping he can keep that up. So let's go 8 for James Maddison, and then you said Brennan Johnson, 6, and I know that's charitable. He actually, for all the bad things he does, he did have some moments where he was linking up pretty well with other players.
Right.
He doesn't look completely clueless.
Give me Odegaard and Son.
Odegaard, let's go 7. High 7 for him, and then Sonny. I'll give Sonny a 9. That's not his natural position. He said he has a hard time playing there. He did great.
And one more, Ange. One for Ange.
Ange was brave. Let's give Ange a 9 as well. I think Ange did. He changed some things around. So yeah,
Soren, you saying you got to go, and Colin's got a show after us in an hour, right? So I want you all to hop over at Colin's show in an hour.
Thanks, buddy.
Soren, have you got to go?
I can give you my scores. So Maddison, I'm going to go with an 8. I thought he was pretty good until he ran out of steam. Who else was there? Sorry, Brennan Johnson.
Yeah,
I'm going to give him a 6 as well. He managed to get his boots on the right feet. That's about as, and he did have a part to play in the first goal.
Odegaard and Son.
Odegaard, I think I'm going to give him a solid 7 because he showed some good glimpses. It was just the end product wasn't quite there, but he gave you a lot of hope for the future, and he did what he was supposed to do. Son, don't think I can go as. Can I give him a 9? 8.5. He scored 2. I don't think he deserves a 9 because I think he was lucky with the Van der Ven goal.
And
Ange. I don't know.
We don't take don't knows.
I'm gonna say an 8 because I don't think we played the best team in the league. So I don't, I think it was. I'm not going to say a guaranteed win, but I couldn't see anything else but a win. So I don't think he can necessarily take all the credit for us winning 4-0 because I think it was on the cards. So I'll say an 8. And with that, I'm going to say good night. Come on, you Spurs, and great to see you all. And
Right, okay.
Thanks,
We'll get you back. We'll get you back
unfortunately, I won't
Sunday,
see you for a couple of weeks now. So I'll see you soon.
You
Right,
enjoy
you
your
available Sundays though?
Sorry, Adrian.
Are you available Sundays? Because Ian's going to be away in Canada. I'll message
Sunday.
you. We'll find out then.
I should be about this Sunday for
Okay.
sure.
All right. Nice to
All
know.
right then. Catch you later.
See you later.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Have you got to go, Phil? You all right?
No, I'm okay, mate.
You all right, AJ?
I'm an insomniac, mate. I'm nearly always awake.
Fine. So we'll carry on as normal then. AJ, give me your Madison and go through the panel. Madison.
Right. I already did Madison, didn't I? I said 8.
All right. I'm sorry. All right. We'll start again. Then. Right. I haven't done Mark Madison. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's like everyone said, like at the moment, he's like he was the first 10 games. Now, there was someone on someone's channel, he's a Leicester fan, I can't remember his name, and he said,
David Clark?
That's the one.
Yeah.
And it was when we bought Madison, he said, you watch, he'll have a few, say 15 good games, and then he'll fall off a cliff and get injured. And then he'll be out for a while. And what he said was exactly correct. So at the moment, he's doing his bit, but he's, I just want him to put that season in. Well, we got like 50 games or something this season, so he's not going to play every game. But like, I'll give him a 7. But I want to just see the consistency out of him over a season. Whether he only plays half the games, but,
Ellie?
Yeah, he was very busy. He's got fantastic vision. Made a beautiful run when Romero found him. Unfortunately, he hit it straight at the keeper. So I don't know really, because he didn't do enough to impress me for an 8. So I think I'll give him a 7.5. I'll go do a Soren and I'll give him a 7.5.
Okay. And me? Yeah, I'm going to give him an 8. Much better from him. Right, we come down to Odegaard now. AJ, Odegaard?
Odegaard, I think, gets a solid 7. A great debut for him. He was very lively, very confident. Gave the fullback a headache. Fullback didn't know what. I think the fullback was a decent fullback. He was young and quite pacey, but he didn't know what to do. Like Odegaard gave him a headache the whole time he was on. So I think a 7.
Phil, Odegaard?
Yeah, I'll go a 7. It was his debut, so let's give him a bit of credit. A lot of the limelight would have been on him. Being his debut, and I think he made an impression with his dribbling skills and in his confidence of trying to take on a player. Do you know what I mean? I think we've been missing that for a while. So yeah, a solid 7. I think he did all right.
Mark?
Yeah, that's the same. A 7 from me. He impressed me with his willingness to take his man on that we haven't seen for ages. And his first touch on the ball was outstanding, especially one that got pinged over to him would have been in the first half, and he just plucked it out the sky. But it was his debut. It's not. If you look at his stats, they're not so good, but the eye test, it was promising. Mm-hmm. Let's just say that promise. The promise is there.
Ellie, Odegaard?
He excited me. I thought he's the type of player I like. You know, he takes on his man, got quick feet. You know, still learning the game, as you know, he's still a bit raw. But I think 7 is a nice mark for him because he didn't quite get an 8, but because he was so exciting to watch, that's what I am looking for. And it was nice to see him. He wasn't frightened to take on his man. As soon as he got that ball, his first thought was to bomb down that wing or just cut inside or go to the byline and beat his man that way with his quick feet. He just needed a little bit more cultured thinking when it came to the pass at the end. But that'll come because they'll work with him because he's got talent, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm going with a 7 as well. Now we go to Johnson, AJ.
Oh.
4.
Okay.
I think I would have gone 5, but for me, 5 is a bang average game, neither good nor bad. I don't think he did anywhere near enough of anything. You just in contrast to Odegaard, you look at the two of them. I mean, for me, I don't want to. I'm not big into putting our players down and ripping into them. So I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it at that. I don't think he did anywhere near enough of anything for.
Phil Johnson.
I think a 4 as well. To be honest, a 5 is sort of, just average, below average. So I think Johnson did one good thing on the goal with Kulu, but other than that, I'm struggling to see what he actually did to affect the game. And it's not just against Everton; it's against Leicester as well. And I'm just not. I want him to do well. I want him to. Let me give him a bit of back in here. I think he's better as a forward, not as a winger.
I agree.
So I'll give him a little bit of leeway on that. He's being played out of position, but he's flattering to deceive at the moment. I just think we need to cash in on him. To be honest with you, I don't think he's ever going to play in the forward position because obviously Solanke's there and Son will be there if Solanke's missing. So yeah, I just can't see a future at this club for Johnson, to be honest, even early on in his career.
Mark Johnson.
Are minus numbers allowed?
Wow.
No. Well, he does nothing. He does absolutely nothing. I mean, well, put it this way. The reason I'm fed up with him is because I've been on several other channels defending him. When we bought him, everyone was saying, oh, he's rubbish. He's this. He's that. No, I said, no, he's young. Just wait. He'll prove you wrong. But he's let me down now. And so I give up defending him now. I'm not defending him. I think he must have pictures of Ange naked with kangaroos or something to keep getting in the team. or something like that must be going on because I don't understand why he's in the team. To be honest. I mean, I'll give him a 3.
Okay.
That tickles.
Ellie?
Oh, I'm just looking at Phil laughing his head off.
Yeah, you got me there.
Well funny, Mark.
Well,
yeah, other than the naked picture of Ange, which I've permanently got into my head now.
With kangaroos. With kangaroos.
Yeah, it's a kangaroo.
Yeah. I forgot about the kangaroos. I was focusing on Postecoglou naked. No, I agree with Mark. and I agree with AJ. I can't give him more than a 4 because even though he done that dribble, that's all he offered, right? And you're a winger, right? His dad was a striker, by the way. He played for Ipswich, I believe. I think he might have started his career.
Is it David Johnson?
David Johnson. I think it was David Johnson. But his dad was a really good striker. So I reckon he's not going to get his chance there.
He played for Liverpool as well.
He is Ange Postecoglou's favourite because he keeps on putting him in.
Exactly.
When he doesn't really warrant to be put in. Because look at Pape Matar. Like I was saying earlier to you, Adrian, Pape Matar plays one bad game and he gets dropped, right? I can think of 10 really bad games that Brennan Johnson's had, and he still gets put in. So it's a bit unfair in that respect. But I think 4, I can't think of anything past that score, you know, because he didn't offer anything apart from that little dribble, which he did with Kulu, and that was it. The rest of his play was non-existent.
I'll give him a 4 as well. Yeah. So
Adrian, I just want to add, just to give him a little bit of backing, that he is definitely being played out of position. When he played for Forest, he was playing up front most of the time, and he did have some really good games. Do you know what I mean?
Forest played counter-attacking football, though.
Yeah. I mean, his game isn't suited on the wing. His game is not suited on the wing. His game is getting in behind through the channels and beating the defenders on with pace.
Yeah,
that's his game.
No, I never knew this.
This is
no,
Dan. Look,
I never knew this. I never knew this. So why the hell is he being played there?
Well, because Ange picks him there, because Ange's system is based on, this is why Werner's back, Ange's system is based on 2 wide wingers with the electric pace that hug the touchline. And he look, Ange's picking him. We're just doing our critique on the player. So Ange lives or dies on the hill however team performs this season. He's got
my thing with pictures of
the whole this season as far as
kangaroos.
I'm not just giving him Christmas. Not me, but not that what I think will count for anything anyway. But
he needs to drop him to the bench because the boy is struggling. He needs to, and he's really good when he comes on as an impact sub. You know, he's lively.
Can I just quickly say, I don't see with Johnson all this pace that people keep talking about. When you look at Kulu is deceivingly quick. People don't think Kulu's quick, but he's quicker than he appears because he's a lump. He's a lump and he powers up. But Johnson is late on in the game. Exactly what Ellie said. He's an impact sub. You bring him on 10, 15 minutes left to go when the team are tired. You ping balls in behind and you get him to run. If you watch him play, when he's out wide, he doesn't play to face his man up and beat him. He gets the ball played into space and makes the run in behind because I think he's quicker. He's got quick acceleration, but once he's got to his top speed, once he's got to his top speed, what's the Everton fullback Malenko? Is it? He kept pace with him, and he's not quick. He's not quick.
It's a testament to how bad he played. We gave it to Odebert more than him.
Exactly.
Because I don't think the players trust to pass to him because he's wasteful and he doesn't use his pace, like you said. Right?
I don't
think you've all made a justified critique on him, on his performances. The thing that's got us all perplexed is why Ange keeps picking him. Well, there can only be one reason for
it's the photos. It is them photos he's got.
I mean,
the only thing I don't think you see. I don't think you see him in the starting 11 against Newcastle.
Well, we may not. But the reason he's been picking him, there can only be one reason, and that he shows something in training he doesn't show us fans on the pitch. Because otherwise, you wouldn't pick him.
I think the reason he might get picked is because if you watch him, Ange wants his 2 wingers to hold the width. Yeah. And if you watch him, Johnson does that. That's about the only thing. He doesn't beat his man. He rarely gets in behind.
He is
but
fast.
He does hold the width. he does hold the width, which stretches the game and allows, if you're going to play inverted fullbacks, you need that width so that your inverted fullbacks can come and they're not going to get crowded out.
That's exactly it. Exactly it. You hold the width. You stretch the defenders.
But anybody can stand on the
We're just using him to, for his positioning. His positioning.
Oh, no, he's not in the side. He's not. Oh, AJ's gone. He's not in the side for that. I mean, like, it's more than that. He's not in the side for one-dimensional things. And obviously sees something in him that we haven't, or that we don't. I mean, he wouldn't get in and put on the pitch just to hug the touchline. No. I mean, like, you could put Kulu in the side for that if you're worried about that again. And people complain about that. I mean, I just think that
when we played Villa away, he played very, very well. And when we played Arsenal away, he played particularly well in the first.
Well, let's not also on that. Let's not take away.
There is parts of his game that are good when he's on song, but he hasn't been on song for many games.
And also, away at Leicester, second half, we all complained he didn't take his man on.
Yeah.
In the first half, away at Leicester, he had 3 shots at goal. He had, in the penalty, he had the turn and swivel, which was good technique, which the keeper saved. He had the shot, which rolled past the far post. And he had one from outside the box into the box. Plus, he made 5 defensive tackles, more than any other player. And that surprised me because I'm not really a stats person. I'm an old-fashioned eye test person. So he had a good half against Leicester. Just the second half. If it had that half in the second half and reversed them around, people would say probably he didn't have a bad game. He was okay. He was okay against Leicester. We want to see him beat his man. That's what we want to see. I mean, that's the biggest complaint with him. But he was so I can see why he got picked against Everton, right? But he can't go on like that. We need more from him. We've moaned about Maddison and Basuma had to step up this season because they dropped off the second half of last season, and we were lucky that Emerson and Davis could pair up the centre backs. And when people talk about a system, the way we're playing and play, bear in mind after them 10 games. Basuma was suspended 3 times. Romero was suspended once. VDV was out injured. Romero was out injured. We had
Maddison got injured.
Yeah, we had 22 injured players last season, more than any team in the Premier League. And people are complaining about the system. Now, this season, I will complain about the system. If we have a fit squad throughout the system and our season goes to pieces, then I'll complain about it. But I can't do an honest assessment on the system last season. Different if you're an Ange out or a Levy out or something like that. You might come at it differently. And I understand that. But judge the system over a season. Now, I'm not saying we've got to be totally injury free, but when we don't have a horrendous list of injuries, that's all I'm saying. That's what I'll do anyway. I mean, up to fans what they choose to do. I mean, but that's what I should do. I should judge the system because I'll be honest. I get what it is. I ain't seen enough of it, and I ain't seen enough consistency of our players and fitness throughout the squad for us to show us whether this system's good or not. I mean, Danny doesn't like the inverted fullbacks. That's fair enough. That's an opinion. I ain't got a problem with that. But I mean, before I come down, before you wield the axe on things, I mean, I want to see more of it. I want to see more of it with a fit squad. So that's just me. But Johnson, at the moment, I go and watch these players. People know I go and watch. I'll throw video ups for everyone when we link with the player. Whether we were interested in him or not, we find out later, or wherever I get rid of. I'll go and have a look. And when I looked at Johnson before we got him, I'm thinking, well, Paratici likes him. Hold on, the scouts, that's not they like him. And I'm thinking, I don't get it. I didn't get it before he came. I mean, he was one I didn't get.
Did we sign him on a couple of FA Cup games? Because Forest went quite far in the FA Cup that season, and he ripped Arsenal to bits.
In the Championship, he had done well.
Yeah,
I think one season for Forest, he'd scored about 10 or 11 goals or something. And for his age and doing what he was doing, he had impressed a lot of people. But some players don't kick on. Now he's in the Premier League. He's had that one season with Forest, I think, in the Premier League. Right? I don't know how many goals he scored. I know he banged quite a few. 11, and assist in the Championship. His stats were, we wouldn't have gone for him. Whatever his stats are, they'd be good because we'd have done the data analysis as well. So like his stats were good, but you know, stats don't always like, you know. I
think we picked the wrong player out the two at Forest.
You think
I think
Gibbs White?
Yeah. I think Gibbs
Brian
White.
Davis. I like him.
Powerful.
I like him, but I'm not sure Gibbs White as a. I don't know what an edge midfield player is now because when he wanted Conor Gallagher, that seems to me he wants to bring an energetic box-to-box player in. You know, in which case, like, we'll go get Ederson if you want it to be a box-to-box and whatever, or go and get Fratese at Juventus, or go and get. I'm thinking I was going to say Fofana in France at Fofana. I'm not sure where he is now.
He's gone to Milan now, isn't he?
Is he? And there's another guy we've looked at Metz or someone in France, but he's a kid as they've looked at. So I wouldn't be. We can talk to that in a minute after we've done these. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about other players in a minute. Okay, so I think we've firmly put Johnson through the mincer, and we all want him to do well. So let's hope he can turn it around. Okay, so we got to do Son and Ange. So we do Son, Phil. Sonny.
Yeah, typical Sonny performance, clinical.
2 goals. Finished, lost his pace, rubbish, sell him.
I've said it in previous chats on the different YouTube channels. I think it's a myth. I think him losing his pace is a myth. I think, you know, especially on that Pickford chance, you know, where
I said fine, but we'll be screwed without his goals, and we will because we don't know what Solanke's going to do yet.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Sonny's still got that spark. I think he's going to be our top goal scorer this season, and without a doubt, he's the best finisher at the club, and I can't believe the amount of doubt that's on Sonny for his fan base. I think he brings so much to this team, and may it continue.
Marks?
Me?
No, I'm talking about Phil. You didn't give him a mark.
Oh,
Mark. Sorry. I'd give him a 9. 9.
AJ?
I own everything I say, good or bad. If I make a judgment, if I make a comment on anybody or anything, I own what I say. I have been one of the people saying Son's losing his pace. I have been one of the people saying he shouldn't be captain. I still stand by both of those. With the exception of this game just gone, in the Leicester game, he was blowing out of his arse most of the game. Like, he made a couple of runs forward and he was tired, and he just wasn't putting in the effort. This game, I don't know what happened, but Son turned up, which is what I've been wanting. I love Son. I absolutely love the guy. I think he's incredible. I think he's an elite finisher. I think he is somebody that is proud to wear the Spurs shirt, which is what you want as a fan. You want a man coming on that pitch that understands what it is to represent that football club. And that's what you get with him. Is he slowing down? Yes. The back end of last season, pre-season, and with the exception of the match just gone, the Leicester game included, he hasn't been on it. He showed up. He led by example. He put in an incredible performance. He didn't stop running. He's got to get a 9 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
I would say a 10 out of 10, but for me, it is only Everton, so I can't give him a 10. If he was scoring those 2 goals against an Arsenal or a City, then yeah, the man gets a 10 out of 10. I just hope that the performance we saw against Everton is what we can expect from him this season, because he deserves to be back to his best, and he deserves to have everyone singing his name.
Off the cuff, he's a club legend anyway already.
Absolutely.
I think he's got 84 assists, and 160 odd goals, right? Which is a phenomenal. I think he's like maybe number 7 on our all-time list or something like that. I'd have to check that. And I think my goals are quite close. It might be 170 odd goals, but I'm saying he's got double the amount of goals to his assists. And to have 84 assists is phenomenal anyway.
Yeah.
Along the amount of goals. Mark, your marks for Son?
Well, yeah, I agree. Everything that AJ said. Like, he's a legend at the club already. I mean, he's just got to top it off now with winning something.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it'd be such a shame if when he decides to hang his boots up, if he ain't won nothing here either.
We said that with Kane, didn't we?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one that's gone and didn't win nothing. But is Sonny losing his pace? Time will tell. All right, he done it against Everton. But, you know, to be honest, I don't want him dropped from the team because he's our best finisher. But he was very ineffective against Leicester on the left. You know, he looked far better in the middle. And he is our best finisher.
Mark, would you suffer a little less of Sonny's pace if he's still going to get us 15 to 20 goals a season?
Well, exactly. Yeah. Christ, you take that all day, every day.
When we say he's losing his pace, right?
He's lost the turbos, hasn't he? He's lost the turbo blasters, right?
I do respectfully disagree with you. I like with AJ. I agree with most points. To be fair, he's, but I just think with him losing his pace, he's still quick. He's still quick. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not saying I never said he wasn't.
He's still a very quick player. But like, how do we measure that he's lost his pace? Like, how do we measure that?
There are stats for it.
Well,
I don't go and look for those stats because I'm in the
that's what I would like to know as a stat. You know,
to be honest,
off the mark when he's traveling with the ball or without the ball. You know, running onto the ball.
Well, a different comparison. Bentancur's our fastest midfielder, but Kulu's faster than Bentancur.
Yeah,
people say Kulu's slow, probably because he's big, like AJ says. He might seem deceptive because of his size, right? And Bentancur's not slow going forward with the ball, right? So, and Kulu's not slow. Even Richarlison's fast, believe it or not. He is fast, right? As well. So, okay, anyway, you gave him.
I never gave him a mark.
Go on.
Mark's got to give the mark.
2 goals. 8.
8.
Yeah.
Really?
Right. I want to mention about his pace first and foremost, right? So I think what Sonny does, he wants to go fast, right, and pick up the pace. And what he finds is that he runs out of steam because his legs are getting older. So I don't think he's lost that initial pace, but I think he's lost the pace to run on and keep that pace up. But what impressed me a lot in this game, when he was running with Van der Ven, what he did, he saw that he was running, right? And then when he got to the halfway line, he realised that he had to pick up the pace, right? So he can really pick up the pace very quickly. But when he's going for a long run, I think he loses it a little bit. So he has lost that little bit of extra pace that he's got to put on the second burners. No, because you always have your first burner, but it's the second burner that I've noticed, right? But he has to pace himself now because he's older, right? What I like about him, he brings a lot to our game, and he's always looking for the ball, but sometimes his ball skills can be found wanting at times, where it's sort of like a hot cake. But having said that, I love him because he's so clinical in front of goal. There's no one in the Premiership like him apart from when we had Kane. He's better clinically, clinical finisher Kane. But Sonny, I think he's the second best, even better than Haaland, because Haaland gets it laid on a plate. Whereas Sonny, he makes his own goals a lot of the time, or, you know, when he bangs them in. But this year, I think we are better deploying him as a striker alongside Solanke rather than on the wing. But I'm afraid they're going to probably push him to the wing because you can't really have, you can have two in there. We've always had in the past two in there. So there's no need, there's no reason why, sorry, that we can't. But I just can't see Postecoglou doing it.
AJ's got to go. He's given Ange an 8. So you gave him.
Yeah, I'm giving him an 8.5. Actually, I'll give him 8.5.
Right.
Because I don't think it's quite a 9, but 2 goals, fabulous.
I'm going to give him a 9, and because I just thought he led by example. I just liked everything. He was chasing everything down. I just thought he had an excellent game.
Yeah.
Much better than some of his recent games. I found that against Leicester, this is another thing when you're judging a player, you've got to judge what's going on around him as well. Udogie, who's supposed to do overloads with him, was off it. Udogie wasn't on point, right? And there's like different areas of pace and trickery that a winger needs, which Udogie, when he was close to a player, he was like quick-footed and he was trying to change from feet to feet and get past, or he'd pass the ball back. With Sonny, he might have just lost a bit of reflexes there in that sort of a position. When you've got to stand a player up, when you've stopped with the ball basically and your defender's against you, and now you've got to, you know, spring into action left or right. I think he might be a bit slower there in doing that. Maybe his reflexes are a little bit. He's still got an eye for goal, can score with both feet. I just think in those situations he looks a little bit off it to me. I don't know. I haven't really. It's just something.
I'd love to know that stat though. Do you know what I mean? Just
what, how fast he is.
Just how fast he is. You know, running onto the ball or chasing the ball. Do you know what I mean?
Google it, someone. Google it. It might come up.
I agree with Ellie. I agree with Ellie. He's not got the blistering pace like he showed against Burnley anymore.
The afterburners, you reckon he's
lost them? The real afterburners. You know, I'm not knocking him. I love Sonny to bits. I want him to stay forever. I want him to stay forever, but let's face it, he's not going to.
I mean, when do you think he's lost that? When did he lose it last season? Well,
it's his age. You know, he's well, possibly some of last season.
Some of these slight players, they just keep their pace. They don't drop off. You look at some of the older players now that are playing at 36, you know, Giroud and Ronaldo and Messi and people like that. They've still got the guile to play the game, and they've got all that experience as well, like, you know. So I think Sonny's got all the guile and everything that he's built up over years. I think he's good for a couple of years, easy for us. I mean, next season fans will say get rid of him, and if it's next season it'll be out of that. But listen, I would even keep him after that if he was on the bench and use him as an impact sub. I would still keep him until it really, you know, some players, when you know they're really shot and they're gone, then you with a player like Sonny, you wait to that moment. And he'll know himself. He'll know.
Yeah.
To say that Sonny's slowed down is no slight at him, because let's face it, he was lightning fast. He was absolutely lightning. Now, if he's only lost 1 or 2% of that, he's still quick. And you can't say he isn't.
That's what I was trying to do before, Mark. You know, he's still a quick player. You know what I mean?
But let's face it, he hasn't got that Burnley goal pace anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, where he just, like, 3 seconds, he ran the whole length of the pitch and slotted it in the net. I don't believe he's gotten, certainly not, like Ellie said, over them long distances anymore. He's still quick.
I'm not so sure, man. I'll leave it at that anyway. I'm not.
Yeah.
All right, then, Phil, we'll come to you for Ange. Give us your Ange verdict. Numbers.
I'd give him an 8.
Okay.
Simply because I think he made some brave selections. One being Basuma. I expected him to be in there, but I think it was just a brave selection for Ange to do, and with Odobert as well. Odobert was a brave decision, you know, bringing in a kid at 19 years of age. Do you know what I mean? So, and they both paid off in the game, and they both played well. So that's why I'm going to give him an 8.
Yeah, and he's give a young player a game early 90 minutes. There was lots of criticism from fans, and it was just, they had a point last year about late substitutions for young players coming on. I think he's got more confidence in his squad now. I think he's got more confidence to throw Gray and Bergvall in. You know, you want to see him play for an hour and a half. You want to see him play a game, but I think you'll see him play for halves in an hour before that happens. But we'll see what happens in the Europa League, because I think that's a good chance to give them a game, 8 games. If you can win 4 or 5 of them, you might have 3 you can play around with, you know. Your Ange vote, Mark?
Yeah, I agree with Phil. Yeah, an 8. But you know, I don't want to drag the team down, so I don't want to sound negative. But like, let's face it, Ange won't have a much easier game this season to manage. You know, because we just ran riot over them the whole game. You know, I mean, so
you never know they're easy games till afterwards when you
no, of course not, of course not, of course not. But let's face it, he could have brought me and you on it at halftime, Adrian. And we'd have still won that game.
Yeah, we played well within ourselves. I thought we stepped off the pace after the second goal, to be honest. I thought there was just a little dip in what we were doing. And that can sink in and be a bad thing at times if a team scores a goal against you. You know, you all of a sudden, now you've got to pick it up again. You know. Ellie, Ange?
Yeah, on that point, right, about just before I go on to Ange, I don't think we had that killer instinct when we went 2-0 up. I turned round to Phil P, and I said to him, we haven't got that killer instinct to kill the team off. And if they'd scored it with those those free kicks and the corners, if they'd scored one of those, it would have been a bit squeaky bum time. We know what happens. We tend to panic and draw or lose the game. All right. So I was quite concerned about that. But I think Ange has worked on the set pieces. It looks like he has anyway, because we were doing a bit of zonal and a bit of man marking as well, which I like. I like the mix. I prefer it. Right. Actually, I prefer proper man marking, but we're not going to get that in this day and age. So it worked well, and Vicario done well as well. But with Ange, I think he deserves an 8 because he made the substitutions when he saw Maddison was tiring, and other players weren't pulling their weight. You know, he probably thought, right, I'll take them off because they're not doing quite what I want them to do. And Ange is quite ruthless like that. So what criticism he had last season, he wasn't making the substitutions early enough. But I think he made the first one on the 64th, 65-minute mark, which gives that player enough time to affect the game. Like, you give them 25 minutes, half an hour, it's nice. But when you give them 5-6 minutes or even 1-2 minutes, what do you expect the player to do? It's an insult to the player as well, because he's been sitting on the bench that long and you're only giving him a minute or two. Nah. So I like that. And I would have liked to have seen more of Bergvall earlier on, because I think he deserved to come on. I'd like to. But
plenty of time. There's plenty of time for us to see all these players.
8 is a good score for him because he weren't quite a 9 and it wasn't bad as a 7, even though 7's not a bad score. But
I'm giving him an 8 as well. Now we'll have a chat about. So how are you feeling, guys? It's 2 games. I know people were disappointed after Leicester, but we have got 4 points, which is no bad start, right? And let's be fair. I mean, I know the fans react differently, but the next 2 games aren't going to determine our season. We've got 3 cup competitions and the rest of the league season to play. But it is, you know, the tension's there, the pressure's on for Newcastle away. Now, how are you feeling? I mean, like, Ange picked his squad of 20, and considering that Solanke, and Bentancur have got to come back, and Mikey Moore will get time. That's another 3. So with the 20, that gives you 23 minimum if they're named in the squad. And I expect Mikey Moore, he's underage anyway, so he'd go on the B list, I would have thought. So that's 23. Even with those, Phil, his team selection, he's going to have some team selections to deal with during the season, isn't he? He's going to have a lot of limitations because I like to pick the team selections for fun, and sometimes I was 2 players out for this week. You know, other times I'm 1 out. But with Ange, you don't know what you're going to get. Are you happy with the shape of the squad? Even though we could do another 1 or 2, couldn't we, before Friday?
Yeah, I'd like another 1 or 2 players in, to be honest with you. Especially in left back or left centre back role. I'd like another winger, to be honest, but I don't think it's going to happen. But on to the Newcastle game, I think it's a good time to play him at the moment. It's not going to be easy. It's never easy against Newcastle away. Let's be honest, but I think they've got a lot of injuries at the moment, and their form isn't great. So I think we can get. I'm pretty confident about this game. I'm pretty confident. I think we'll get a narrow win. I think it'll be a 2-1 win.
Yeah, we'll go in depth on it Friday when we discuss the Europa League. Because we have been going over 2.5 hours, and I just want to get your general consensus of how you're feeling about the start. I don't think it's a bad start at all, actually.
I mean the start. Yeah, I mean, Adrian, the start itself. I think we should have got 3 points against Leicester. Let's be honest. I mean, you know, a 1-1 draw felt like a loss. But we move.
There was also the danger. We beat Leicester and Everton, and all the fan base are going the quadruples on then, aren't they? Because we'd have had 6 points.
I don't know about that, like, but
Jim will be going the quadruples on anyway, like he will.
But I really wanted them 6 points because we've got a run of fixtures now that are going to be tough. I just felt that having them 6 points would have been really important.
It's a bit of a safety net, isn't it?
Like you say, Mark, it's a bit of a safety net, and I think having them 2 points is important. But we move. We've got 4 points. The Everton game was a great response to the Leicester game, and I think we go into the Newcastle game with a little bit of confidence. And like I said, it's a good time to play them.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you think? I mean, like, you know, we had a 20-man squad, didn't we? 9 subs there, and that's without Solanke, Bentancur, and Mikey Moore even, and without. I mean, I'm expecting at least 1 in this. Surely we're going to get Langer's pull a rabbit out of the hat, or we get at least 1 more in, surely. And what do you think that'll be? Because I don't think it'll be on the forward line. I'd be surprised if it's.
My goodness. Right now, the first 2 games. Yes, we're all disappointed with the Leicester one. The Everton one it's a given. You know, I mean, I would have liked 6 points just for that safety net because we got some. Put it this way: go and beat Newcastle at St James's Saturday or Sunday, whenever it is, and I'll be more than impressed. You know. You know, because the last 2 times we've been there, we've lost 10-2, isn't it? Was it 6-1 and 4-1? The last 2 games there?
4-0 we lost.
Oh, all right. It's 10-1 then. It's 10-1 then in the last 2 games we've been there. It was 6-1, 6-1 and 4-0.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the crowd is a big you know,
it always is at St James's.
The main reasons why we sort of fought against Newcastle.
We beat them 3-2, and Eric Dyer scored that header.
Yeah.
Scored the own goal. We beat them 3-2. We have beaten them
5-0 and all up there, and all we beat them.
Yeah.
We haven't beaten them in recent years. No.
And they beat us at White Lane 2-1 as well.
Yeah. Well, you know,
last season we beat them 4-1, didn't we?
and what was the other half of your point, Adrian? Because
I was saying that, like, well, we picked 20 for the game, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's without Bentancur and Solanke. I mean, surely this is going to give Ange a nice selection headache, because if he puts them two in, he's got to take two out, isn't he? Who'd you take out? Now, we can all pick Johnson. Werner's not playing, otherwise we'd pick him, right? You can all say, well, Johnson goes for Solanke or Bentancur, then that probably would mean that Decky would have to go back out on the wing again, right?
Yeah.
Because you'd have to do that. But like, I mean, like, and that's without bringing anyone else in. So we're getting into a position with the squad. I think, you know, I used to ask people, are we treading water going backwards or going forwards? I think we're treading water and we've moved a bit forward. And to confirm that, we need to see them young kids get 90 minutes under their belts and show that they can play for 90 minutes under their belts. Because although Bergvall and Gray look good, Gray's done it in the Championship. I'm sure he can do it, right? It's a tough environment. I'm not so sure with Bergvall, although Bergvall looks very skillful and very talented, but you still got to be able to do it for 90 minutes. And you can't judge these players on one 90-minute game. You need to see them play 5 or 6. So the best chance of them really getting minutes under their belt to prove that they are really good is probably in the Europa League, in my opinion, not risking them in one League Cup or the FA Cup. If we draw, which we will, we're going to have 8 different teams in the Europa League, 8 different. Now, hopefully, you know, I mean, the spread comes out well for us home and away.
Yeah,
there will be some good teams in there, but we should get to, if we're in pot 1, there's 8 pots of 4 teams.
Let's hope we don't get 2 or 3, say, the other side of Europe. You know, 6-hour flight and all that stuff.
4 teams instead of like 4 pots of 8 teams or whatever, and you're drawing 2 out of each pot. I'm not quite sure. I did have I've forgotten how it works. But if it's 8 pots of 4 teams, you're going to get 8 teams, but they're all going to be different ones. So then we'll see what we get in the draw. And then Ange will think about that. You know, it's down to the team, isn't it, to go and do the analysis on the opposition and like he says, pick the team for each particular game. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Ellie, what are you thinking about the fact we got Bentancur and Solanke? Well, Solanke's definitely going to come in and get games, and so is Bentancur. Mikey Moore, Europe probably. And if he shines, he can play on. For the under-21s, Mikey Moore mainly played on the left, and we got abundance on the left now. You got Son, Odegaard, Werner, Mikey Moore. You know, I mean,
I'd like to see Mikey Moore get a chance, like off the bench, but with quite a lot of minutes, not just 5 or 10. Give him at least half hour or 45 minutes, even. You know,
it would have been ideal for him Saturday.
Yeah.
Because we had that game completely in the back. I'm not even sure if he was even on the bench.
Yeah.
Was he on the bench Saturday?
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Well, to be honest, he should have thrown him on.
The under-21s, wasn't he?
Oh, all right.
I didn't do the print out of the squad, the whole squad. I did it on the phone because I was going to the game and I got it because of going to the game. Obviously, I did it on the phone.
He was for the under-21s, though, wasn't he?
So it'd still be in the lineup on your phone, Eddie. Ellie. It'll be in the lineup on your phone.
My phone's gone dead.
Right,
but I'd love to see Solanke and Sonny play together as a partnership. It'd be brilliant, you know, because they're both quick with their brains and they're both really good on the ball. You know, like when you pass them the ball, especially Solanke, I think he's got more technical skill, but Sonny's got more, and he's clued up and he's very clinical in front of goal. So it'd be lovely to see him join up. Because when he was playing on the left, I think he was wasted. I don't know. I like Sonny to be in the middle so he can affect the game more. I don't know. But the stats show that he's more. I remember being on the Irish HOTSPUR and they did the stats and it showed that Sonny's more effective when he's played on the left. And that's why he's being put on the left. But I prefer him when he's in the middle because he's so clinical.
And me.
I mean,
Without
it's
a shadow of a doubt.
Star, Forster, Dragerson, Gray, Davies, Werner, Bergvall, Richarlison, Spence. So, you know, you're looking. I would have thought that somehow I think Werner's going to. I would have thought that Davies would be under threat and Werner would be under threat, and then subs for Solanke and whatever, which would make us look strengthen us a bit more. You know, I'm surprised Forster's come straight back in at the expense of Austin, who I thought did well pre-season. But, you know, they see more in training. He's in his last year, so perhaps Austin will be just be number 3.
Yeah.
Right. I think we've done the show went well, I thought, on today. I want to thank all my guests. I'm not going to name them. They know who they are. I want to thank all of you in the chat.
Thank you very much.
Big up to all of you, especially you who can bother to take the time to watch us on playback. Like I say, Friday's show at 8. We do a show Friday at 8 and Sundays as well. 3 regular shows at 8 o'clock UK time. And this Friday we'll be doing the rundown on our Europa League opposition, the 8 teams we've got to face. We'll be doing the show from 8 to 11 o'clock because 11 o'clock is when the transfer window shuts. So we're going straight through to 11. I'm sure we'll find enough to talk about. Plus any other news that crops up between now and then, if we get a new signing in or whatever. News I can give you is that Solomon has signed for a season loan to Leeds United. I can tell you that our under 21s, our under 18s won 5-1, but our under 21s lost 1-0 to Newcastle.
Oh, that's
and the last game, and our ladies don't play until late in September, their first game, but the last game they won 2-1 against Southampton ladies. Prior to that, they beat London Lionesses 5-1, wasn't it? Or 5?
Yeah, London City Lionesses. Yeah, 5-1.
5-1 or 6-1, something like that. Yeah.
Is it 5-1 or 6-1? 5-1, I think.
Yeah, that is about that. So I will play you out with.
Come on.